Good evening, councillors. I open the ordinary council meeting on the 17th of June 2025 at 7 p.m. Could I please ask Councillor Hamilton to read the acknowledgement of country?
I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the land of the Bidjigal and the Gadigal peoples who occupied the Sydney coast, being the traditional owners. On behalf of Randwick City Council, I acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders past and present and to Aboriginal people in attendance today.
Thank you. Councillor D'Souza with the prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We humbly beseech you to bestow your blessings upon this council, Almighty God, and to direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement of your glory and the true welfare of the people of the city of Randwick and Australia.
Thank you, councillors. Please be seated. I now call for apologies and granting of leaves of absence. It appears that we have all councillors in attendance this evening. Thank you. Can I please have something that we now move to the confirmation of the minutes? Can I please have somebody move the confirmation of the minutes? Moved Councillor Asghari, seconded by Councillor Burst. All those in favour of the minutes of the 27th of May? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interest. Councillor Hay.
I'd like to declare a non-significant non-pecuniary interest on the item CP 21 of 25. My mum has a heritage house. She's looking to knock down an old asbestos garage. I don't think it's actually caught by the Heritage Service Level Review, but it's probably better I leave the room anyway, and I will not be participating in voting in that matter.
Thank you. Are there any further... Councillor Veach.
I'd like to declare a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in CS 2925, Plum Park, Malabar. I live in the vicinity of Pioneers Park, but I will be voting on the matter.
Thank you. Are there any further declarations? Councillor Said.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In CP 17/25, I have a non-pecuniary, significant claim. Sorry, I was just looking at. I've got two different numbers here, but the people in number 60 High Street are known to me, Dr. Jarvie and his wife Kay Jarvie. I was a patient of Dr. Jarvie, and so was my father. So I will be voting on the matter.
Thank you. Actually, in relation to CP 17/25, the Randwick Junction Planning Proposal, I declare a non-significant non-pecuniary interest insofar as several of the directors of the Randwick Club are known to me. I will be participating in the matter consistent with previous declarations, and Mr. Kelly, I will send that through shortly. I apologise, I haven't sent that one through. Are there any further declarations? Otherwise, I'll make another one. Sorry, Councillor Said.
Actually, you've just reminded me, Mr. Mayor, that yes, same CP 17/25, that the board of the Randwick Club are known to me.
Thank you.
But I will be voting on the matter.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further councillors? Councillor Wilson.
I'd like to declare a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in CP 17/25. In that I have been in the past a member of the Randwick Club, and that some of the directors of the club are known to me.
Thank you.
I will be voting on the matter.
Councillor Luxford.
CP 17/25. The board members of the Randwick Club are also known to me. So I'm declaring a non-significant non-pecuniary interest, and I will be voting.
Councillor Good.
Sorry, I would also like to declare a non-significant non-pecuniary interest for the same reason, as one of the board members is known to me.
Thank you. Councillor Magna.
For the abundance of caution, I also know members of the board of the Randwick Club, and but I will be voting in the matter.
Thank you. Are there any further declarations? Otherwise, I have one other declaration. It relates to CS 28/25, the Maroubra Surf Lifesaving Club. I've requested the full declaration is recorded in the minutes, and I will send that through, Mr. Kelly. It is a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest. I'm a volunteer patrolling and occasionally competing member, although I'm not competing this season, of the Maroubra Surf Lifesaving Club. I do not hold any office, actively participate in the management, administration of the organisation, nor do I engage in any other activities to any significant extent which could be considered as giving rise to a particularly strong affiliation. I will be voting in the matter. Are there any further declarations? Okay, there being no further declarations, we will now move to the address of council by members of the public. I will read the chairperson's announcement in respect of the Privacy and Personal Information Protection Act. Members of the public are advised that the proceedings of this meeting will be recorded for the purposes of clause 520 and 523 of the council's code of meeting practice. Audio video recording of meetings is prohibited without the express permission of council. A person may be expelled from a meeting for using or having used an audio video recorder without the express authority of council. All members of the public who are addressing tonight's meeting will have a maximum of 4 minutes in which to put forward their case, with no extensions available. Presenters will be stopped when the 4 minutes has expired. Councillors may ask questions of presenter at the end of each public submission. And with that, the first speaker this evening on CP 17/25, the Randwick Junction Planning Proposal Gateway Conditions, speaking against Professor Richard Mackey, or Mackay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors. My name is Professor Richard Mackay. Just by way of quick background, I am an expert heritage advisor retained by the owners of 60 High Street. I am a former member of the Heritage Council of New South Wales, the inaugural chair of the New South Wales State Heritage Register Committee. I'm a former commissioner of the Independent Planning Commission, current member of the Australian Heritage Council, and I have participated in literally hundreds of heritage assessments, heritage studies, including many assignments for local government. And I have been retained by Dr. and Mrs. Jarvie to provide expert advice in relation to their property at 60 High Street, and have agreed to share that advice with you this evening. Next slide, please. I want to make 3 points about number 60 High Street with respect to the Randwick Junction planning proposal, the town centre. And they are simply that the subject property does not meet the grade to be identified as a contributory item as proposed. Firstly, because it's lost its integrity. Secondly, because when you drill down, it actually doesn't have the key characteristics that underpin the values of the conservation area. And thirdly, just a common sense approach, looking at its context and what is the circumstance and reasonable prospects of the site. So dealing first of all with the question of integrity, and may I have the next slide please. For those of you who are not closely familiar with this site, it's immediately across the road from the Prince of Wales Hospital primary entrance on High Street. It is a small Federation period, originally domestic dwelling, now used for consulting rooms. But the right-hand side of that building was chopped off in 1984 at the request of council to provide car parking. And the right-hand side that you see there on the site has lost its integrity as well, because it's a pastiche of reconstruction. And council's heritage report that identifies this building as warranting identification as contributory does not include a history of this building, does not include a fabric analysis. Next slide, please. Councillors, on screen is your statement of significance for the Randwick Junction Heritage Conservation Area. And there are some words highlighted there. Coherent streetscape character, commercial centre, 19th and early 20th century buildings, and reference to Belmore Road and the Coach and Horses grouping. Next slide, please. So taking those keywords, the keywords that describe the characteristics of this conservation area, the subject building is not in the commercial centre, it's not in a coherent streetscape of Federation buildings, it's not from the 19th century, it's not part of the Belmore Road or Coach and Horses. Next slide, please. And when we go to the planning proposal definition, it's not what's described there either. It's not 2 or 3 story, it's not interwar, it's not post-war. It has none of the attributes and characteristics of the Randwick Junction Heritage Conservation Area. Next slide, please. And so I come to the context. The building is arrowed. It has 4 to 5 storey walk-up residential flats to the left. It has 6 to 8 storey post-war residential flats to the right. It has Randwick Plaza behind. It faces the light rail, the large forms of Prince of Wales across the road. This building does not, with respect, councillors, make a contribution. And next slide. And the property, therefore, should not be identified as a contributory item within the Randwick Junction Heritage Conservation Area. And the request is that the Randwick Junction planning proposal should be amended now, prior to any public exhibition. Thank you, sir. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Speaker? There being no questions of the Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
We now move to CS 29/25 Pump Park for Malabar. Speaking in favour, Rachel Deering.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, councillors. Just by quick introduction, my name is Rachel Deering and I'm simply a full-paying Randwick City Council ratepayer who in the main is very supportive of many of the council initiatives implemented for the greater good of the community, so thank you. I'm going to get straight into this because I'm very conscious of the time. If a pump park is required to be constructed in the Malabar district, and I stress it's a big if, then as per the historical evidence available, there is support for the unanimous informed resolution made by councillors in April 2024, which was based on a feasibility study and expert opinion that Cromwell Park North had the ideal terrain and best suited to support a pump park. The resolution made by Randwick councillors in April 2024 was very clear. Council endorsed the site at Cromwell Park North, Malabar, and the design, development and construction for a bike facility at Cromwell Park North, Malabar proceed. The resolution never asked for open consultation nor asked for other parks to be considered. It was very specific, and the recent Have Your Say vote, Cromwell Park v Pioneers Park, was never authorised by councillors, the decision makers, and as such this vote should never have happened. I call on all current duly elected councillors to reflect on this and to ask some serious questions as to how this could happen with the view to preventing it happening again in the future. In 2023, Council commissioned a feasibility study to find a suitable site for the construction of a pump park in the LGA that initially considered 10 sites, but was shortlisted to 3 sites, and I note none of which were Pioneers Park. The current recommendation by Council Admin is the same as that unanimously resolved in April 2024, that Cromwell Park North be the site for the pump park. After reading the comments and submissions by those who participated in the recent Have Your Say campaign, as per the report, and examining the minutes of Malabar precinct meetings, it's imperative that the following matters be raised and addressed now and recorded in the official records of the council, and also provide history into the construction of Pioneers Park. Interestingly, the 2016-2021 government Census of Information demonstrates a change in demographics that clearly show a large decline in both children and adolescents and an increase in elderly residents in our local area, our LGA. As is very evident from the information provided by Council in its report, in respect of building a pump park, there is an apparent overwhelming sense of uneasiness from ratepayers and the transparency of Council decisions and its consultations. While Heffron Park was put forward as a potential pump park, from information readily available, the site was seemingly not seriously considered. Interestingly, I'm led to believe from multiple sources that the reason Heffron Park was not considered for the pump park is Council is going to build another 2 AFL fields and 2-storey AFL club at Heffron Park. The AFL teams currently using Pioneers Park will eventually relocate to Heffron Park, allowing soccer to move into Pioneers Park. a seeming repetition of exactly what happened approximately 25 years ago when Council was considering the design of Pioneers Park. My understanding is that back then there were some serious issues concerning as to who was going to occupy Pioneers when soccer teams from outside the Randwick area were reportedly promised the park. I call on our duly elected councillors to carefully read and understand the submissions provided in the report and their implications at the time. It was only
1 minute extension.
It was only for the foresight and common sense after a compromise from the then Mayor Dominic Sullivan that ultimately created Pioneers Park as we have enjoyed over the many years since and continue to do so today. Given the continuing changing demographics of our LGA, why would Council propose to build the new ASL fields at significant cost? Who was being catered for? There's a lot of history of Pioneers Park that I'm not going to get through, but it's important. The open area without any tree obstruction gives all people of all ages a sense of safety, especially in the early mornings and evenings. The Pioneer Park the concept has been a major success and one the Council should be very proud to be associated with and continue to support. I call on the Council to continue to preserve the long-standing Pioneer Park heritage for future generations and to adhere to the agreement made with Council at that time. The open-air concept with no trees also attracts and caters to kite flyers, model plane flyers, parachuters and all other types of sports to the upper level. Unfortunately, it also attracts a well-documented, ever-increasing and at times very dangerous antisocial behaviour.
Ms Deering, if you could please wrap up your remarks. You're at 5 minutes with an extension already.
Well, as I said, there's a lot here, but in summary, what I'm saying is if a pump park is required to be constructed in the Malabar district, then as per the evidence available, Cromwell Park North is the only park location suitable with its perfect terrain, sufficient parking and public facilities close by across the road. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Speaker? Councillor Burst.
Thank you, Rachel, for coming down to talk tonight. You talk with a lot of passion and enthusiasm, which is great to see. I love that from our community. As per CS 29-25, do you support the recommendation of the paper, which is to Cromwell North?
What I support
as per April 2020.
What I support is if the park needs to go ahead in the Malabar district, I'm not against the park. In the Malabar district, the only suitable place for it is Cromwell Park based on all the evidence that has been gathered and put forward. That's what we're saying.
Okay, great. That's basically what this CS 29-25 recommends. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Questions of the Speaker? There being no further questions of the Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We now move to NM 61/25, Notice of Motion from Councillor Veitch, calming traffic and improving pedestrian safety in the Kingsford East precinct, speaking for Mr Tim Longhurst, who I'm advised is appearing via Teams. Mr Longhurst, could you please unmute yourself and we'll just test your audio.
Thank you.
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. My name's Tim Longhurst. And this year I join you as the chair of Kingsford East Precinct. We are, in a way, a wellbeing and education precinct in Randwick. Our area includes the community bordered by Anzac Parade and Bunnerog Roads to the west, and Avoca Street to the east. We have the hospital and the university to our north and Snape Street to our south. In the centre of our precinct is Randwick High School and Rainbow Street Public School. I'd like to commend Councillor Veitch for bringing this motion forward tonight. And I'd like to thank all West Ward councillors, Councillor Andrew Hay and Alexandra Luxford. All your hard work does not go unnoticed. And I'd also like to thank council officers, particularly the transport team, who have worked with our community over the years. Our precinct is being transformed. Inside our precinct, we have the Kingsford South Housing Investigation Area. And parts of our precinct have been earmarked by the New South Wales Government as part of its transport-oriented design reforms. And in fact, Randwick Council's vision for the Rainbow Street site gives us a taste of how additional children and families will be using our precinct in the years ahead. There are many young parents with kids, as well as older residents, who attend our local precinct meetings. A common theme across the 18 months that I've been part of the precinct is conversations about safety. How do we make our streets feel safe and inclusive? People comment about the lack of traffic calming mechanisms and inadequate pedestrian infrastructure. These are the most common issues raised in our area. There's been a change in our precinct. For example, in the traffic network in our area, we've had a doubling of traffic through what was once a quiet residential streets. Traffic on Sturt Street, for example, has nearly doubled from 5,000 to 9,000 traffic movements per day, with much of this traffic travelling at high speeds, particularly in the morning peak. At the same time, this area includes Randwick High School with about 1,500 kids and Rainbow Street Public School with about 500 students. Many of these 2,000 student cohort, along with their friends and along with family members, walk or ride to school through this area. It creates significant conflicts with car traffic. Drivers comment that they have difficulty exiting driveways, traffic banks up at Sturt and Anzac Parade intersection, leading to cars running the red lights in the mornings. Intersections like Peyton and Sturt Street, Bird and Sturt Street are unsafe. Crossings at Sturt and Peyton, Sturt and Avoca, Sturt and Bird and Rainbow are dangerous. And smaller streets perpendicular to Avoca, like Rigney Avenue, are experiencing increased rat running. This isn't just a local inconvenience. It's part of a wider shift. As the closure of the Nine Ways roundabout, traffic patterns have changed significantly, and Kingsford East, to those of us who live here and is home, is a residential community. But increasingly, people in cars are seeing our neighbourhood as a cut-through. But the infrastructure hasn't kept pace. Streets designed for residential life are now handling regional traffic volumes. This motion invites us to take a different approach, one that aligns with the movement and place framework that Transport for New South Wales uses, recognising that streets are not just conduits for cars, they're places for children walking to school, neighbours crossing the road, and older residents getting fresh air and meeting with their fellow neighbours. It also aligns with public health and environmental goals. If our streets don't feel safe, families won't walk. They'll drive, adding to congestion and emissions. It's a feedback loop that we can change. We want this area to be safe and inviting for people of all ages to be able to walk to school and work, walk their dogs, and ride their bikes without fear of being hit by a car. We've engaged with Rainbow Street and Rainbow Public School P&Cs on this matter, and those groups, as well as Safe Streets and School... sorry, may I continue?
Yes, please continue.
Thank you very much. Are on the same page in terms of wanting better traffic calming and walking infrastructure. We strongly support this motion and urge Council to act now. Let's plan for a local area traffic management study. Let's ask for a 40km/h zone, and let's roll out early improvements like raised crossings and curb extensions with the support of state grants. I will note, I'm going off the script here, but I will note that I read about the Kingsford West upgrades, and I'm thrilled to see millions of dollars being invested in Kingsford West. But when I look through the history of those upgrades that are coming and they're being discussed at tonight's meeting, they were first raised by residents in 2001, as I understand it. And if that's the case, what I can really be mindful of is how sometimes these projects take time. So what Councillor Veitch has proposed here is something that I really hope isn't watered down or modified. I hope it is passed as written. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Speaker? There are no further questions of the Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Longhurst.
Thank you.
Thanks. We now move to NM 62/25, Notice of Motion from Councillor Wellington, Wildlife Friendly Declaration and Second Generation Anticoagulant Rodenticide, SGAR phase out. Speaking for Mr. Alex Vince, representing Animal Liberation. Thank you. Please begin when you're ready.
Good evening, councillors, staff and Randwick residents. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on a matter of urgent importance to Randwick's environment and its wildlife. My name is Alex Vince, and I lead Animal Liberation's campaign to ban second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides, or SCARs, across New South Wales. I'm also one of over 280 other experts who signed an open letter to the federal regulator demanding urgent Commonwealth action to protect wildlife from these poisons just last month. Tonight, I urge you to support Councillor Wellington's sensible, science-based and timely motion to phase out SCARs from Randwick City Council. Because SCARs are far from your average rat bait. Their use is a lot like firing a shotgun into the dark. The target might be hit, but so too are countless other victims. And unlike older alternatives, a single bite is all it takes. And with that instant lethal dose, SCARs launch an assault on the body's ability to clot blood, triggering a relentless internal hemorrhage that the body cannot stop. But the true horror lies in how these poisons don't simply vanish. They infiltrate the web of life by accumulating in the corpses of their victims. Worse still, as SCARs can take up to 10 agonising days to kill, animals who ate a bait over a week ago can still continue to move, now a walking time bomb of toxins. And make no mistake, it isn't a distant threat. It's happening right now in Randwick, where at least 30 native species are at direct risk, from kookaburras and magpies to possums and bandicoots, all the way to carpet pythons and even amphibians. They are all vulnerable to the impacts of SCARs. Incredible scientific findings paint a very bleak picture. A staggering 92% of tested powerful owls already have rodenticides in their systems. And every single death was linked to SCARs. Along with other apex predators, these natural rat catchers would normally help us manage rodent populations, but instead they're becoming victims themselves, dying a slow, painful, and a protracted death. And these are not distant or abstract creatures. They're your constituents too. And their lives, their health, and the balance of our ecosystems depend on the decision that you make tonight. Randwick's own environmental strategy sets ambitious goals for conserving natural resources. But SCARs directly undermine these great goals by poisoning the biodiversity that you're working so hard to protect. It's like trying to plant a forest while chopping down its trees. It simply does not work. While local government New South Wales has passed a resolution advocating for a statewide ban, it lacks the power to compel individual councils to act. Fortunately, Randwick does not have to walk this path alone. Progressive councils are becoming wildlife friendly by going SCAR free, demonstrating that phasing out these poisons is not only possible, but practical, achievable, and incredibly impactful. Your decision tonight has the power to save the lives of countless native species and inspire neighbouring councils to follow suit. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the Speaker? Councillor Wellington.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Alex. I wonder if you could briefly advise Council about the other measures other than SCARs available to Council.
Yes, there are a range of measures. They begin with prevention first. I think that's key, because we don't want to be adding poisons to the environment where they're unnecessary, particularly where those poisons are becoming less effective over time. There's been a study just published last week that shows that rodents across the country are now 50% resistant to SCARs. In Perth, they're 80% resistant to SCARs. It is only a matter of time before that happens, and we can no longer use SCARs simply because they don't work and not because they're torturing animals to death.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Questions? There being no further questions, thank you very much. We now move to NR/25, Notice of Rescission Motion from Councillors Hamilton, Hay and Rosenfeld, the Spot Streetscape Upgrades, Concept Design and Community Consultation. Speaking for Mr. David Castelletti.
the loss of 22 high turnover short stay parking spots at the spot is what is proposed by the Spot Streetscape upgrade. I'll put upgrade in inverted commas. The plan in its current form, quite frankly, it's economic vandalism. Councillors, my name is David Castelletti. I'm a property owner up at the spot, business operator up there for the last 30 years. And I stand before you as a voice of a community that feels betrayed, ignored, and furious about this flawed process. To say that I am angry, disappointed, and tired of being dismissed is an understatement. This consultation has been a complete sham. Your executive summary, which you voted on last meeting, to put it bluntly, it is more than a sham. In this, it states that 86% of the community support this upgrade. This is dishonest, biased, unlawful, and un-Australian. To see it on a council letterhead makes me sick. The real numbers, and this is according to here, if you keep going through the summary, it says the real numbers show 52% don't support the current concept. Interesting. And again, your numbers, I would say a lot higher, but 70% of affected businesses oppose this proposal. Now listen, when 7 out of 10 businesses that you'll be destroying have problems with this plan, how can it be called community consensus? Let me be brutally clear. You're voting to systematically destroy the spot, the small business community. These 22 high turnover short stay parking spaces are the difference between businesses surviving and closing forever. Let me remind you of some of your responsibilities as councillors: to represent the interests of residents and ratepayers, provide leadership and guidance to the community, and I like this one, facilitate communication between community and council. Tonight, when you are voting, think about your responsibilities. Our interests are not being represented. Small business owners are ratepayers too. We need leadership. You're steamrolling and rushing into this upgrade when there are legitimate concerns with misleading data, which is all through this executive summary. Consultation has been a sham. Despite overwhelming business opposition, consultation to property owners. Wait, that would be nice. Has there been any? No. When Lee and Stewart Street residents complain about parking impacts, you listen and change your recommendation. But when the Spots businesses raise the same concern, we're ignored. We're not just disappointed, we're furious that our voices don't matter. We have over 1,000 signatures on our petition of people. Will you ignore all of those too? This community has rallied like never before because we can see the writing on the wall. You're going to kill the spot. No parking means no customers means no business means no the spot. You'll have beautiful wide footpaths. Whoa, how good they look. Leading to empty shops.
1 minute extension.
We demand immediate support for the rescission motion. That this should be deferred, real consultation, not this tokenistic process, and recognise that small business accessibility isn't negotiable. We welcome upgrades to the spot, but not at the cost of our parking. Councillors, you have a choice tonight. Rubber stamp this flawed process and this Spot Streetscape upgrade, which is flawed. The community is watching. The business owners are waiting. We will remember how you vote tonight. Support the rescission motion. Defer this to get proper consultation. We deserve more. Save a spot, small business, before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a question from Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Castelletti. Could I ask you a question about consultation? Since the last meeting, it's been 3 weeks until we're sitting here again to deliberate on this issue. Has anyone reached out to you from council? Has the mayor reached out to you or anyone?
Can I say, funny enough, the mayor made a surprise appearance at one of our meetings. Do I think we were listened to? I think not. There may be a proposal where the mayor can put forward that, what about the Wilson's car space and what have you. We're talking about short-term, high turnover parking spots. And if we lose those 22 spots, customers will not come there. People don't want to pay for parking when they're going to a store for a short visit. I mean, the spot is already small as it is. And if we lose 22 parking spots, that's like losing 30% of all our parking. So let's get real. You want to really help the spot? Vote no to this. This is a death of small business, and that's why the New South Wales Small Business Commission has been contacted, and this is why I'm so vocal and passionate about this area. To put it quite clearly, I've been up there for 30 years as a restaurateur and also as a service industry. I was invited by the Honourable John Howard for the Sydney Olympics, for the hospitality and traineeship program to launch that because of the success at the spot. This, in its current form, is going to kill the spot and everything it stands for.
Thank you. Do any further questions? There being no further questions, thank you very much.
Mr Mayor, I've got a procedural motion that we debate and vote on these 5 items now, given that we've got such a large audience and they're very passionate about the individual topics in place. So I'm moving that motion.
Okay. Thank you. It being okay, thank you. Seconded by Councillor. I move Councillor Rosenfeld, seconded by Councillor Hamilton. I do not support the procedural motion. All those in favour of the procedural motion, please raise your hand. All those against? Okay, declare the procedural motion carried. Thank you. Thank you. We now move to in relation to that, CP 17/25 Randwick Junction Planning Proposal.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Could you just make it clear to the public gallery what just happened with that vote? Because it just seemed a little bit quick.
What happened with that vote is the procedural motion that Councillor Rosenfeld reordered council business in relation to that.
Yep.
Thank you. CP 17/25 Randwick Junction Planning Proposal, moved by Councillor Said. Councillor Said, could you please outline what it is you're moving?
As per the business motion, as per the business paper.
Okay. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Luxford. Councillor Said, could you please speak to the motion? Thank you.
Mr Mayor, actually, I just ask your indulgence as well that we usually have petitions at the end of the night, and I just want to ask for a procedural motion that I bring forward the petitions and that I can present a petition for signed by 500 people as a submission to remove 60 High Street as a contributing item during the exhibition phase, and then we can go back to it after the exhibition. So I'd like to present it as part of the submission during the exhibition.
Right. All right. Thank you. There's a procedural motion moved by Councillor Said, seconded by Councillor Hay. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you.
And on with that, Mr Mayor, I think it's good that we have the uplift. It's good that we have affordable housing. It's good that we have a sensible approach to this motion and I hope it gets through.
Councillor Luxford is the seconder.
Yeah, so I commend the report and
Actually,
the
sorry,
recommend.
Mr. Mayor, sorry, just a second. Mayor, I'm sorry, I beg your indulgence. I would like to move this with a slight amendment.
I thought so.
Which is G. And I think Mr.
Yep,
Yes,
Mr. Kelly should have
Mr.
it.
Kelly has it, which reads that council endorse the exploration of an amendment to the planning framework for Randwick Junction Centre to incentivise developments to construct residential dwellings and or restrict student housing, co-living accommodation. As this amendment, Mr. Mayor, goes a long way because we're all very keen on K2K. We thought it would be fantastic. There was going to be setbacks. There was going to be laneways. There was going to look like a boulevard somewhere in Paris. But unfortunately, somewhere along the line, we just got student accommodation after student accommodation. And unfortunately, families have been virtually locked out of buying within Kensington. So we just want to make sure that we have a range of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedroom apartments, so we can have families and bring back families to the area. The demographics have definitely been changing, so if we can have 3 bedroom apartments, we can get some families and some children, some different age groups within the LGA.
Thank you. Councillor Luxford.
Yes, so now I've lost where I was. Okay, so I support the report and the amendment. Being a Westward councillor who has now had her suburbs that she actually lives in decimated by student accommodation, it would be good if we could get more family accommodation and housing back into Randwick. It would be a lovely place to live once it's all been fixed up, and families would benefit from the amenities around if we can get more family built apartments there.
Thank you. Councillor Hayne.
Thank you. I'd like to move an amendment which I've sent to Mr. Kelly. It's that we remove, as an additional dot point, we remove 60 High Street as a contributory item. I seek not to gild the lily. We've just heard from Professor Richard Mackay for 5 minutes on this topic, and Councillor Said has handed up a petition with 500 signatures. I think everything that needs to be said has been said. We don't need an additional contributory item. The building is old, and this is about a refreshing of the area. So I'd like to put this forward.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton is the seconder.
I would just say that as someone who reveres heritage, I have supported a lot of heritage items in my time on council. I was a member of the Historical Society, and I even wrote a book about Captain Cook. It's not great, but when you see something that was presented as it was tonight, you can tell that this is, something that we really should listen to the residents, listen to the people that are presenting it to us, and know that given the plans and the designs that the council and also the state government have impressed on councils all over New South Wales to improve hubs like this, then it makes sense. So while I am very much in favour of keeping older homes, I think that this is a perfect case of where we can allow this to move forward so that it is more in keeping with the existing and future amenity of the Randwick hub.
Thank you. Can I confirm whether or not the mover of the motion accepts it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd quite happily accept that and make it H.
Okay, thank you. We'll now go to it now being accepted into the motion. The motion is now amended and incorporates a new point H. Councillor Veitch.
I've also sent some amendments through to Mr. Kelly. I hope. Look, this is a gateway decision now made by the Minister, but as noted by Councillor said, it is really disappointing that some of those more appealing elements that were put forward by our planners and endorsed by Council, such as the design excellence provisions, the active street frontages on some of those secondary roads that we've been discussing the idea of the laneways and the activation of laneways for such a long time now, and also the affordable housing area map. So it's simply to express our objections to that, and also, as mentioned by Councillor Said and Councillor Hay, to ensure that controls in the forthcoming DCP will ensure the prioritisation of residential housing, all including 3 and greater than 3 bedroom units, because we know that the investors who build these properties are generally building them with 1 or 2 bedrooms. They are easier to sell, but we know that there are young families who want to stay, who don't necessarily want to move to the outer suburbs, who would like to stay in the area, and so we need to ensure that we can accommodate this sort of diverse housing. So I hope you will accept the amendment.
Thank you. Before I go to the seconder, Councillor Said, do you accept the proposed amendments?
I do, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. There being no further speakers on the amendment, we'll now go to Councillor Wellington, if you'd like to speak to the motion now as amended.
I'm seconding the amendment and reserve my right. Thank you.
Thank you. It's okay. Are there any further speakers on the motion as amended, which now incorporates an additional point, I believe, H and J and K? Yep. Are there any further speakers on the motion as amended? Councillor Magna?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I also speak to the recommendation from the business paper and the amendments that have come from the floor. I think this has been a great process from the council officers and the dialogue that we've had with the New South Wales government. An additional 800 new homes where people can walk to work, walk to travel, the light rail, transport, proximity to the city. The area needs revitalisation. I think this amendment and this gateway planning proposal provides that opportunity. I think the affordable housing dwellings means that we can have teachers, we can have nurses, we can have essential workers that live in our community and don't continue to be priced out. We can have diversity of housing types, because the Greens amendment I support, and the diversity of unit sizes means that we can have families that can live in units rather than needing to move out into our sprawling suburbs to find enough space for growing families. And that means we can have grandkids that live near their families and live close to their networks. And we all know that diversity of housing means social diversity, and social diversity means resilient communities and a greater sense of community. And for that reason, I think all of this is very exciting, and I look forward to seeing it come into fruition.
Councillor D'Souza. Councillor D'Souza.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I fully endorse all those wonderful things Councillor Magna said, and Councillor Weech, Councillor Hamilton. You know, in Randwick City, we boast about a sense of community, and a plan like this does just that. It helps us to build a stronger community. It looks after those most in need, those most vulnerable in our community, those essential service workers, those nurses, those AMBOs, the policemen, the firemen who can't afford to live in this area, but there's an opportunity to create affordable housing. There's an opportunity to bring community together, family together. So I'd like to say, Mr Mayor, thank you, Councillor Magna, as you also said, and Mr Brownlee and others have brought light rail to Randwick City, And that is a big plus for our community. And I think it's the best thing we could have done. And now with this new plan, I think it'll consolidate all the hard work our officers have done over the years. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, Councillor Said, would you like to close the debate?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd just like to commend all councillors because there was input from just about everybody in that. So we did come together for the good of the LGA, and it's quite nice to see that. Thank you.
Thank you. It being a planning matter, a record of voting is required. All those in favour, please raise your hand. We have Councillor. Oh, it is unanimous. Okay. All those against, declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. We are now, due to the procedural motion, moving down the order of speakers which we had, which is here. Members of the public won't have it, so that the next speaker in relation to this is CS 29/25, Pump Park for Malabar, and the mover is Councillor Burst. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Said had his hand up second. Councillor Burst, could you please outline what it is you're moving?
I'd like to move it as per the business papers and the recommendation, and I reserve the right.
Thank you. Councillor Said is the seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd just like to point out that actually in the process of this, there was always going to be community consultation. And the good thing about all this was that Council and I thank the council officers that a part of that community consultation, we were asked by the Malabar precinct to look at Pioneer Park, which we did, and we're only following the processes of a very good community group down at Malabar precinct. So I commend them for allowing everyone to have a say. As you saw in the report, it's back at Pioneer, which I think is going to be good. Back at, Cromwell Park, sorry. I don't want to give that lady a heart attack. It's back at Cromwell.
I'd hate to correct the speaker, but just for the benefit of the record, he's definitely moving Cromwell.
But all I ask, Mr. Mayor, is that amongst the process, there was a little bit of confusion about what an actual pump park actually exactly looks like. So I still would like the Malabar precinct to be consulted during the whole process and just show people what it actually looks like, what the design will be like, the actual footprint down at Cromwell, and also at the same time just look at traffic mitigation, parking mitigation, and also now at Daycare Street there's a lot of people parking boats, caravans, so if you have a look at that, move those across, and also just have a look at, with the excess traffic, if we continue to try to do our best with the intersection up at Franklin, Prince Edward and Anzac Parade. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor D'Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Saya Saka Kibara, I hope I said it right, claimed a slice of history, winning Australia's first ever Olympic gold medal in BMX racing. I really take on board what this council is doing because this council is investing. It wants to invest in our Olympic future and also support the young people in our area. Therefore, I, Mr. Mayor, will fully support the recommendation on the business paper. And just to get it right, it's Cromwell Park North. Therefore, I will support this. After extensive consultation and community input, there appears, Mr. Mayor, community support to build a pump park in Cromwell Park North, and I fully support it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, Councillor Burst, do you wish to close the debate? Thank you. Okay, I'll now put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to NM 61/25, Notice of Motion from Councillor Veach, calming traffic and improving pedestrian safety in the Kingsford East Precinct. Councillor Veach, could you please outline what it is you're moving, and I'll call for a seconder.
I'm moving it as per the business papers, but I believe that there have been a couple of amendments put forward.
Yep. Okay, moved Councillor Veach, seconded Councillor Luxford. Councillor Veach, could you please move your motion, speak to it?
Look, councillors, over the past several years, particularly since the introduction of the light rail back in 2020, but even before that, back as far as 2017, there were really significant changes in this area due to the removal of the roundabout at what was formerly referred to as the Kingsford Nine Ways. And so since the through traffic through Rainbow going through to Gardeners and vice versa changed, a lot of traffic was being diverted up through Sturt Street and Bundock, which was in East Ward, and just a lot of traffic is going through in this area. We've had contact from the precinct. Well, the precinct only recently reconvened about a year or two ago, but definitely from residents really in my entire time on council since 2017. We've recently, and obviously are voting on the changes, the traffic management devices that are going to be installed in Kingsford and West Kensington. And this should really be done in relation to that, because in fact, just like there have been changes coming through on the western side of Anzac Parade, the residents on the eastern side in that little area have been affected really significantly as well. And we really only had that one traffic management study in West Ward in the last decade or more, and so we need to get this done. It's been a big issue for the community, particularly with all of the schools there, the combined Randwick High School, Rainbow Street Public, as well as UNSW, the Health and Education Precinct. It's a very, very busy area, so I hope you all can commend the motion. I'll make one small change, which is where it says in the first paragraph, bring a report back to council on conducting a feasibility study to assess traffic and safety issues in the area bounded by, and can you add, and including Anzac Parade, Rainbow Street and Avoca Street, just to be clear that it includes those sections of the street. And I believe there were a couple of other amendments.
Go to the seconder. So Councillor Veach,
Yep.
you please continue moving. I'll then go to the seconder. They'll then call for other speakers. Okay, Councillor Luxford is the seconder.
This is a good motion that has been brought through by Councillor Veach and the precinct. Unfortunately, I was unable to be there last week, but I fully support a study being done in the Kingsford area, and traffic has certainly changed a lot throughout our city, and it's one of the areas that is now seeing an increase in traffic, removal of roundabouts, which I'm very passionate about. Having roundabouts has created all sorts of things. So, I support the motion.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Councillor Gordon, and then I'll go to Councillor Hay.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I've just got a very minor amendment to add after the words Avoca Street and separately Maroubra Junction, and therefore correct report to reports and study to studies.
Thank you. Can I please confirm whether or not the mover of the original motion will accept that amendment? Okay, thank you. It's now accepted and incorporated.
I'll speak after.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Councillor Hay.
I'd also like to move an amendment as a point D to the motion. If Mr. Kelly could bring it up. As a lifelong local, the traffic got a lot worse in this area when High Street was blocked off to westbound traffic on Avoca Street. This means that if you live in that area and you want to get to, say, Kensington or Rosebery, you can't go down High Street. You either have to go north to Allison or through Rainbow Street. So Rainbow Street's seen a huge increase in traffic, and unfortunately Rainbow Street is only one lane, particularly heading westbound. This is a huge problem at Willis and Kennedy Streets because there's a lot of traffic that stop and they want to turn right, and there's no way to get around a car that's waiting for the eastbound traffic to pass. So there's almost always a giant queue that forms up heading westbound on Rainbow Street. And what that means is that I think that's the root problem, because that's why Sturt Street has become a rat run. What we need to do is we need to look at either banning...
Accept the amendment.
That made it simple.
Done.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Councillor Rosenfeld.
Okay, just more speaking about the amendment brought on by Councillor Gordon. Now, a couple of things. I love the fact that we want to look at Maroubra Junction, but let me remind the rest of the councillors that A, we're doing a Maroubra Road corridor study that everyone knows about. I know you're new, but I'm sure you've read up about it. So we're already doing a lot of this on Maroubra Road itself, and away from Maroubra Road, I've done a lot of work, and in fact they had some results already on areas like Galvin Street, Maroubra, like Green Street, Maroubra. Last council meeting, you heard some residents about Mason Street, Maroubra. I've seen the traffic committee address very quickly the median strip issues that I had around McDonald's and Matt Thistlethwaite's office. So we're already doing a lot of these issues already. Yes, I don't mind having Maroubra Junction added. However, we're the council and through the traffic committee and other means are already doing quite a bit in Maroubra Junction, and we already have a Maroubra Road corridor study. So, yeah, obviously I'm not going to go against it, but I'd just like to remind everyone that that has a lot of work being done in that area already.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, would you like to close the debate?
Just briefly, I'd like to thank the councillors. This motion was written in very close consultation with the precinct and also with Councillor Hay and Councillor Luxford, so I really appreciate their support in assistance. It was a group effort, and I hope you will all support the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, we'll now go to a vote on the motion as amended in the name of Veach Luxford. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to NM 62/25, Notice of Motion from Councillor Willington, Wildlife Friendly Declaration and Second Generation Anticoagulant Rodenticide, SGAR, phase out. Councillor Willington, could you please move your motion, seconded by Councillor Veach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will take the motion as read. Randwick Council is wildlife aware and works to protect and care for our native animals, planting trees and native havens, creating hollows for nesting birds, putting signs up to warn drivers of possums. And on Saturday, the new Native Animal Recovery Centre was opened at the Randwick Sustainability Hub, and this is all great. But we also use second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides in an attempt to control rats. SGARs risk the very biodiversity that we aim to protect. We cannot build a greener Randwick while simultaneously poisoning its wildlife. These poisons accumulate in the food chain, and in addition to killing rats, also kill many of Randwick's native animals. Recently published data, research from Edith Cowan University, has shown that genetic mutation conferring resistance to SGARs is increasing, and this was mentioned earlier by our speaker. Nearly half of all rats tested in Sydney carry the gene for resistance to SGARs. Half of all rats accumulate the poison but don't die. The other half die and become a terrible risk to native animals and domestic pets who may eat them. Eventually, most rats will develop resistance to the currently used poisons, and then we will have to find a safer, better way to balance the management of Rattus rattus with the safety of our domestic pets and the survival of our wildlife. Progressive councils are wildlife friendly and are phasing out SGARs. This is in line with local government New South Wales policy. Since 2022, local government New South Wales, in its biodiversity position statement, advocates for a ban on the sale of SGARs. Camden Council, Northern Beaches, Hornsby, Campbelltown, Bayside and several other local government areas have already moved away from escar use. In January 2025, Albury City Council became entirely escar-free, eliminating these poisons from all council-managed facilities, including the airport. If they did it, we can do it. The use of escars is banned in the USA, Canada, and the EU. Randwick Council can be better. We can progress from being wildlife aware to being truly wildlife friendly. We can be progressive and lead the way, phasing out escars whilst controlling rats with other measures as are used in other local government areas. This motion offers a comprehensive way forward by phasing out escars from all council operations, establishing public transparency through a pesticide use register, educating our community on wildlife-friendly alternatives, and advocating for regional and state action through the SSROC. As someone who deeply values and respects Randwick's unique and irreplaceable biodiversity, I believe we have a responsibility to protect wildlife that enriches our community. I urge you to vote for this motion and position Randwick as a leader in wildlife protection. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Veach.
Thank you. I'd like to commend Councillor Wellington for putting forward this motion, and also to Alex and what was the other person's name? To people who came and were advocating for us to put up this motion. Many of us attended, I think most of the councillors attended the opening of the new wildlife rehabilitation facility at the Environment Park on Saturday. There were vast numbers of the community there to support, including many WISE volunteers. And one of the really shocking things that was shared at that was the fact that our WISE volunteers in the eastern suburbs have rescued about 16,000 animals and birds just in the past 12 months alone. And they're just the ones that are lucky enough to actually be found by WISE volunteers. There's probably thousands of other animals who are coming to grief in various ways. It's incredibly shocking. These poisons are banned in many other countries. I don't know why they're still allowed to be sold here. We should not be using them. And yes, many of these rats, it sounds like 50%, are developing a tolerance, but whether they pass away from these poisons or not, they are still carrying around the poisons. So birds of prey and other animals who are predating on these dying a most horrible death. We're really lucky in Randwick to have such a diverse amount of animals, different types of possum, 2 different types of possums, so many different birds. We're really lucky, but the idea of them being kind of literally poisoned in a really agonising death through this is quite appalling. There's other ways we should be looking at of controlling rodent populations. This is something we should be looking at as soon as possible, and I urge you to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe I have Councillor D'Souza, then Councillor Luxford, then Councillor Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The poet Coleridge, Mr. Mayor, said in the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, "All things, both great and small, for the dear God who loveth us, he made and loveth all." This is a very noble and important notice of motion, and I fully support it. Because as Professor Richard Mackay said, we are, by our actions, poisoning biodiversity. Needless to say, this impacts the food chain, as was pointed out by the councillor. Eventually, we too may be affected by these actions, as we are part of the food chain. Therefore, I commend you, councillor, and you've got my full support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Luxford and Councillor Gordon.
I can't support this motion. While I am wildlife friendly and I have a cat who does not eat birds, and I have a wildlife friendly backyard. My backyard is planted with natives, so I attract quite a lot of the local bird life, and we have repeat bird life coming. I also have ducks that come and swim in my pool and nest in my native garden every year, and it's the same pair that comes back every year. So I'm not adverse to wildlife or to animals, and I have koi fish as well, just throw that in, which the cat does not eat either. I take offence at point F here that says educate council staff. I think that our council staff are well educated, and in 2023 we had a rat plague in Coogee that was well publicised. At the time we were not using these poisons, we were using alternative methods which clearly did not work, and we had to revert back to using these, what we are using today. It got rid of the rat plague in Coogee, and we've been able to maintain it. So educating our staff is not, and I find offensive, because they are well educated and they have used alternative methods and are aware. And due to the rat plague, I mean, it's why there are cats at all the stables around Kensington. They keep great control of the rats there. I think we should again be looking at other animals that are running rampant in our city, which are the foxes, which are doing a lot more to our wildlife, our pets, etc., than, you know, these things. And, you know, quite clearly we cannot have rats overrunning our city.
Thank you. We have Councillor Gordon, then we have Councillor Burst.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I also can't support this. Look, there's an APVMA review into rodenticides, including SGARs, with a regulatory decision that's actually coming in the next couple of months, and also the response to Councillor Willington's question with notice last month foreshadowed a report to Council by the staff on our pest control methods. So without these two vital pieces of information, I don't see at all why we should rush into a decision like this, especially when, as we know, the consequences of changing our pest control methods are pretty ugly. So at the risk of starting another rat plague, I just can't support this decision. And look, if the regulator one day says we can't use them anymore, we may have to reconsider, but right now there's no point jumping the gun on such an issue. Thank you.
Councillor Burst.
I just have a question through to the relevant officer. If these items weren't available, do we have alternate methods to safely and to still have an effective way of controlling rodents and so on?
Through to the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, a few years ago when we had the incidents with the rats at Coogee, Council was looking at different techniques to do that. Unfortunately, at that time that wasn't successful, and that's when the council used these sort of techniques to get rid of the rats at that particular time. In addition to that, we removed a whole host of bushes that were down there because the rats were getting into the bushes. We changed the way that our bins were done. So if the bins down there, they used to put holes in the bottom of the bins so that the water would go through, and that would also then provide feed for the rats. So we changed all those sorts of things at the time to see how we could control it.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Martin.
Can I just say, as the councillor for Eastwood, I do agree with Councillor Luxford. Will not see the plague come back to Coogee. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, Councillor Willington, would you like to close the debate?
Thank you. I certainly understand the community and fellow councillors' concerns around times when the rat population has increases, and it may indeed be that new generations of rodenticides may emerge, and they may need to be used very judiciously. But I think that in times of rat population relative control, and we will never get rid of the rattus entirely, in times of relative control, we should be very cautious indeed about using escars, and because their contribution to native wildlife decline is really risky. The powerful owl is very endangered at the moment, and the escars contribute enormously to this. So I brought this motion on behalf of the wildlife of Randwick, and I commend it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, and I'll put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? No. There's been a request for a division. Moved Councillor Veach, Councillor Willington. All those in favour, please raise your hand. We have Councillor Willington, Magna, Veach and D'Souza. All those against. We have Councillor Hamilton, Hay, Luxford, Gordon, Rosenfeld, Martin, Asghari, Wilson, Said and Burst, and the Mayor. I declare the motion as lost. Thank you. We now move to, and for the benefit of those in the gallery, due to the reordering, we move to the NR2/25 Notice of Rescission motion from Councillors Hamilton, Hay and Rosenfeld for the Spot Streetscape upgrades, concept design and for community consultation. It being a rescission motion, and the agreed procedure in relation to this is that we will have the mover and the seconder of the rescission motion. We will then vote as to whether or not the question is rescinded. In the event that it is rescinded, then the mover and seconder will have the ability to move a subsequent motion if they do. Councillor Hamilton, are you moving the rescission as the mover?
Yes, I'll move it, but I'd also like to submit a petition. I have a petition here with 1,015 verified signatures. It's titled Save the Spot Parking in Randwick.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton, could you please outline why the question should be rescinded?
The question should be rescinded because we have received a lot of feedback from the community, a lot of feedback from businesses, and we heard from a business owner and a resident of 30 years from the spot who, what they're asking for is they're asking for more consultation. They would like it if they could see additional plans potentially, maybe some spacing of the implementation of the designs, and that can only happen if we slow this down. So at the moment, the motion that was voted through pushes it ahead without really hearing their voices. So I think what we need to do is postpone for 12 months and allow the community and the businesses to be heard properly, for Randwick Council staff to sit down with them properly, not just, you know, no offence, the Mayor dropping into a meeting unannounced and just sitting and listening, because that's not what they're after, and that's not what is actually expected of proper community consultation. We know from experience it involves surveys, it involves phoning, it involves a booth down there. I mean, they could have set up a stall and had people come and speak to the stall about their ideas and their apprehension and their concerns. We have done that in the past. We've absolutely had a pop-up down at Clovelly Surf, right on the beach there in front of the surf club, and we've collected all the ideas from the community and then put that together. And I use that example because I'm a North Ward councillor, but I, you know, put this forward in rescission so that we could bring it back and we could actually properly deliberate on it and then allow the community that proper feedback.
Thank you. The seconder of the rescission, can I just confirm, can it be Councillor Martin or does it need to be a named one? Okay, Councillor Martin is the seconder of the rescission. Could you please outline?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I totally agree with what Councillor Hamilton has said. To me personally, I think it's quite clear by Mr Castelli tonight that the local businesses in the spot have not been consulted properly. I myself have visited and spoken to over 15 businesses in the spot recently, and I can tell you there are some several major businesses that have not seen anyone from council at all. I don't think that's what we're all about here at the council. I think we need to defer this decision. We need to include the business owners in the spot in any future policy and planning. Thank you.
Thank you. We've now had a mover and a seconder. We will now vote on whether or not the decision made at the May Council meeting is hereby rescinded. All those in favour say aye. Yes, there's been a request from a division from Councillors Burst and Hamilton. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Okay, we have Councillors Hamilton, Hay, Rosenfeld, Martin, Burst and D'Souza. All those against. We have Councillors Wellington, Magna, Veach, Luxford, Gordon, Asghari, Wilson, Said, and the Mayor. I declare the rescission as lost. Okay, thank you. We now.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to move a matter of urgency.
Yep. So there's a question in. Yep. Urgent business.
I believe Mr Kelly has the urgent motion. It relates to CS 2025 of the 27th of May. Firstly, I'll address, as Mr Kelly's bringing the urgent motion up, why it needs to be considered as a matter of urgency. We've heard tonight that there is clear community interest in ongoing dialogue and deliberation, and the rescission motion having been lost, the council wants to continue with that engagement work. This urgent motion will facilitate that. Secondly, there is budget considerations that mean that we have a fiduciary duty as officers of the council to ensure that funds that have been allocated in the current budget cycle are properly spent, and the decision-making processes that impact the forward planning for this upgrade are spent judiciously. And thirdly, there's essential technical work that needs to be undertaken in relation to the upgrade project. There's a number of coordination with essential services, and the sooner that we can get on with that, the better. So for that reason, this motion needs to be considered urgently. To delay it to the next meeting would put all of those things at risk. So I put it to you that it be considered urgently.
Thank you. Under clause 9.3 of the Code of Meeting Practice, business may be considered at a meeting of council, even though due notice of business has not been given to councillors, if A, motion is passed to have the business considered at the meeting, and B, the business is considered and is ruled by the chairperson to be of great urgency on the grounds that it requires a decision by council before the next scheduled ordinary meeting. I will now move to 9.3A and put the question that the motion be considered as urgent. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? No. I declare that carried. Thank you. I also, under 9.3B, considered the business as urgent on the basis that the rescission was not carried, and therefore there being a vacuum. Having listened to the community feedback in relation to that, this is a compromise proposition which, if not moved, would not facilitate the ongoing progression of those additional actions. Therefore, I consider it as urgent. Mr Magna, could you please move your motion? I'll then call for a seconder. Moved Councillor Magna, then Councillor Gordon. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I rise to support the urgent motion on the basis that this is the spot is one of the jewels of Randwick City Council. It's a place that we all have come to love. It's tired. It's in need of urgent upgrade, and the cinema and the vibrant restaurant and cafe precinct are considered.
Sorry, could I just interrupt? Councillor Rosenfeld, you're right, for all councillors, Councillor Magna will be heard in silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. by engaging with the key stakeholders, the Sydney Catholic Colleges, the Spot Wilson Parking, and the local businesses, we're going to continue to engage with you, and we're going to take a collaborative approach.
Point of order, speaking through to the mayor, not to the public gallery.
Okay, thank you.
We appreciate that people-centred places benefits everyone in cities all around the world, from Copenhagen to Paris, including Sydney and Melbourne. We've shown that widening footpaths brings people into the community. It reduces the domination of car-centred traffic. It incorporates human-centred design. We have healthier, more vibrant neighbourhoods. And time again, we've seen that in the short term, there is uncertainty and there is anxiety about that. But in the long run, these upgrades have shown that higher foot traffic translates into increased retail expenditure, because people just dwell in the place longer. And when they dwell longer, they spend more. And we want to create destination-focused places in our council area that become magnets for people, not just in our community, but from outside of our community. The data also shows us that 80 to 90% of patrons that visit the spot arrive by walking or public transport. And once they stay, they have multiple activities. People value the atmosphere and ambience of pedestrian-centred locations. All around the world, we are attracted to the boulevards that are pedestrian-focused. And we've got the building blocks of that there in the spot. We've got an iconic destination. We've got a vibrant restaurant precinct. And we are committed to working with the business tenants and the residents to ensure that no one's left behind. We acknowledge that there is anxiety about parking, and that's why we're going to work with the parking centre and with the local business community to see that we can find solutions that ensures that the spot remains the type of place that people want to dwell at, and we'll work together with everyone to ensure that we end up with a great community outcome. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon as the seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just quickly, I would like to concur the points made by Councillor Magna about destination building. It's a really important work that we do on council, and I think there's a real potential for a significant increase in the amenity of the spot, not just with the proposed footpath widening and increased outdoor dining, but also the undergrounding of power lines and the installation and upgrades of the street plantings that have been planned in the Capital Works program for some time. So I also do acknowledge the concerns of businesses, and we will, as part of this urgent business, continue to work with stakeholders in the area, because if we get this right and work collaboratively, this spot can become an even better place to visit and to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor, I saw a hand up from Councillor Wilson, then I'll go to Councillor D'Souza. Oh, sorry, and Councillor Veach, I apologise.
I'd just like to make the point that there was some discussion earlier, Mr. Mayor, by the speaker in the public, from the public gallery, about people who come to the spot for a short period, maybe just to pick something up, don't want to pay for parking. I unfortunately have had a very bad knee over the last 6 weeks, and I've had to drive up to the spot on a number of occasions, and I parked in the parking station for the Sydney Film Festival. But I note that the first half an hour in the parking station is free. And so if people need to come up and get a coffee or drop their kids off at the ballet, then they can get that half an hour for free and they're not paying. And I think that should be taken into consideration.
Thank you. Before I go to you, Councillor D'Souza, I apologise. Councillor Veach did have her hand up for some time. You're okay? Councillor D'Souza. Councillor D'Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, tonight I support what Councillor Magna has offered, because it's really more engagement. It's a better engagement with local businesses, what is being offered. Mr. Mayor, I was reminded at the last council meeting by many, because I voted against, or I supported the council what was on the paper. And I was reminded by many business people, small business people, that I was a small business person in the pharmacist for 40 years. I was once elected the Southern Korea Small Business Person of the Year. And they said, surely, Noel, you should understand and feel their pain. And that's why, Mr. Mayor, what is being offered is very important. I don't want to be like Boris Johnson at the Brexit vote, who got excited at the drums of war only to desert the troops on the battlefield. Small business, Mr. Mayor, is the backbone of the Australian economy. It plays a vital role in job creation, economic growth, and community vibrancy. Small businesses represent optimism, resilience, and innovation. Therefore, it is important to support small business and the government's efforts to make it easier for them to thrive. Let's talk about the importance of small business. The economic contribution, small businesses account for 99.8% of all registered business in Australia and employ nearly 70% of the workforce. They contribute significantly, Mr. Mayor, to the nation's GDP. Job creation. They are a major source of new jobs and opportunities for Australians. Community impact. Small businesses are the lifeblood of local communities, fostering a sense of place and connection. Innovation and growth I talked about. They drive innovation and contribute to a dynamic and competitive economy. This is all I ask you on behalf of small business people, Mr. Mayor, on behalf of those helpless ones who now turn to us. More than that, on behalf of the great council, this great city of Randwick, which must face this problem and face it fairly. I ask you, in the name of progress, not to bend to the bigger end of town at the expense of these struggling small businesses, and do our duty to make a decision which is fair and equitable, a decision that gives the small business community in Randwick City at the spot a fair go. And Councillor Magnus' motion does just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton? Sorry, Councillor Veach. Sorry, my apologies. Councillor Veach, I thought you had.
All good, thank you. Yeah, look, I do support this motion. I went into the meeting last month with the intention of just voting for the recommendation on the business paper. There were some quite persuasive statements made by the chamber, and so I was happy to vote for a deferral to consider those. But I believe this, but I never actually wanted the development to not go ahead. So I think this strikes the right balance between allowing this to go ahead, which will take some time, and ensuring that the business community is fully and deeply consulted with. I also went to the film festival last week on Thursday night. We had to queue up to wait for the other film to finish before we could go in to see our film, and the queue actually went all the way down St Paul's Terrace, down Peruse Road, almost to the petrol station. There's just literally no way these people would have been driving. We were able to find a park. I also use some of the small businesses, like there's the dentist, there's the podiatrist, obviously the ballet school. These types of businesses have loyal customers. You're not going to change your dentist or your ballet school or your health practitioner because of a parking spot out the front. Like, I've literally never got a parking spot out the front, maybe once in the last 10 years. It just doesn't happen. Those types of businesses have loyal customers who aren't going to change because of a change in parking. But the fact is that council has given a lot of support to activating the spot. Over the years, the Spot Festival is one of the council's most popular events. The pop-ups were incredibly popular. And of course, the Ritz is now one of the most popular destinations for the Sydney Film Festival, with people flocking there over a 2-week period. And so we have every indication that the community really wants to go there and take advantage of this particular area, which is anchored by the wonderful cinema, the Ritz Cinema, which is really beloved not only in the Randwick community but literally right across Sydney. So I think this will work really well. This strikes the right balance, and I hope we can address the concerns raised by the local businesses, as well as ensuring the many members of the public who have also been in touch since the last meeting to express their support for these measures to go ahead.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Okay, so I'm just going to clear up a couple of things. Firstly, for everyone listening and for people here, when a rescission motion is lost, it means that what was voted for at the last council meeting, CS 20/25, on the 27th of May 2025, goes ahead. According to the business paper, that's what was voted for. It was majority vote. So everything that is prescribed in that business paper is now actioned. So it's the determination of council. Staff have no other direction other than to continue to work on what is stated in the recommendations on CS 2025. When a rescission is put forward, a rescission, if it is voted through, it cancels out the entire decision on CS 20, and the rescission places, the councillors who put the rescission, they then put up an alternate to the CS 2025. Now that didn't happen, so the rescission motion was voted against by the majority of the councillors sitting here, and so this urgent business is complete furphy. It is completely made up. There's no urgency about this motion at all because it's already been voted and our efforts to undo it have been stopped. So this is basically a new motion. It's just a brand new motion in addition to CS 2025, and it's come about because the Liberals put pressure on them. And we did that because we're speaking for and listening to the community, the businesses and the people that approached us and said that they're very unhappy with consultation. So point 4 of this not urgent business motion, not urgent at all, is contradictory to what we've heard firsthand, continues to engage with local businesses. So if they're saying we weren't engaged in the first place, and then between the last meeting on the 27th of May and 3 weeks later to this meeting, they still weren't engaged, then point 4 is, I believe, never going to happen. I'm very sorry to say, I don't believe this is going to happen because it didn't happen the last time, then it didn't happen the second time, and then it's, who says it's going to happen now? So I'm just really disappointed that there's people in this room playing politics, using the numbers to make sure that something's pushed ahead when it was going to be pushed ahead anyway once our rescission motion failed. So I'm very sorry to the businesses and I'm very sorry to the residents in that immediate vicinity that you're being forced into something and you're not being listened to because it isn't the way of this council. As Councillor Martin said, this isn't the practice of this council to not listen to the people and to not to take into consideration the impacts of such a drastic measure, which is this expansion. The other point I wanted to make was when Coogee Bay Road down at Coogee was made one way and they extended the footpath dining, that was a completely different example because most of those shops are takeaway. So they're takeaway shops. So everyone grabs an ice cream and they grab a slushie, or they grab a poke bowl. I'm told it's poke bowl. I thought it was poke bowl. But anyway, they grab a bowl and they normally walk away. They walk down to the park, onto the beach and sit down. The outdoor dining tables and chairs that were placed along Coogee Bay Road were perfect, ideal. You know, everyone can sit around, they can do that. And all the bins as well lined, so it meant everything was cleaned up. This is different. If businesses are saying we can't extend our dining too far beyond what we're capable of accommodating, servicing, through our wait staff, through our provisioning, through our chef, our kitchens, facilities, if they can't do it, they can't do it. We can't force them. So I'm very sorry. This isn't an urgent business item. I'll have to look over the Code of Meeting Practice myself because it's completely made up.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, Councillor Burst.
If this motion is voted upon, it'll be disappointing for this council. The hypocrisy I've seen here tonight, when you even got one former business owner was a councillor, wanting short-term parking in front of his own stores to make sure that he could make sure business was flourishing for him. This just becomes an impotent motion. It's disgraceful, and I think we need to think twice. I'm a full-time, I'm a driver, so I go around and travel to a lot of areas. Once you lose 22 spots at the spot, I won't be stopping there to grab some lunch or grabbing a snack or a coffee. It's just going to be too hard. And if it's too hard, you're not going to do it. And the last point, everybody says this is a destination. Well, if it's a destination, how do you get there? We're all going to fly there in a helicopter? No, you need to get there by buses. You need to get there by cars. You need to get there by Ubers. So you need to park there. You need to park somewhere. So if you've got a destination location, you can't take away parking spots. And if you make it too hard, people don't go there. And we're going to lose businesses. Businesses are struggling as they are, and all we're doing is put more pressure on them. And a lot of the people who are going to vote for this are people that have never run a business, never had an ABN, never had to look at a profit and loss statement. It's ridiculous. They've never had to every night go, can I pay myself? Because I've got to pay for my staff at the shop. I've now got all these more fees, more council rates, more water rates, more electricity rates. Everything's going up. They're struggling to survive. And so what do? We hit them over the head with a sledgehammer and say, you know what, we're going to take away 30%, maybe 30% of your potential customers. Because that's...
Point of order.
Sorry, I will hear the point of order.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Councillor Burst, could you please sit down while the point of order is heard? Thank you.
Councillor Burst has drawn a very long bow saying that councillors are taking away 30%. That's an incredible aspersion. I would ask him to withdraw.
Okay. Councillor Burst.
No, I don't withdraw that.
Thank you.
The fact is,
so Councillor, so hold on.
Spots,
thank you, Councillor Burst. Hold on. Thank you. In relation to that, Councillor Burst does not withdraw. What I will do is remind Councillor Burst to stick to the substance of the urgent motion, and in his comments recognise that councillors in their respective decision making come to it with a range of motivations and just to be conscious of the matter at hand rather than the particular motivations of your respective colleagues. Thank you. Councillor Burst, please.
To me, it's about common sense. And even our learned mayor here, who loves the night economy, let's get the night economy going. Well, let's shut down all the parking spots. Have less parking spots so it's harder to get there, harder to park. It's ridiculous.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Yes, I just need to continue on with Councillor Burst as well. I'm sorry. Yes, we are, as a council, voting tonight to get rid of 22 car spots at the spot. In my opinion, we are taking into consideration the nighttime economy only. We are not considering the daytime economy at the spot. By moving parking to Coogee Road, you are not going to go and park at Coogee Road to then come back to the spot and grab a bottle of wine or grab a bit of bread or duck into the real estate. It's just not going to happen. So if people come to the spot and you've lost those 22 spots out the front, they can continue on and they'll go and find somewhere else to park and shop. We've got 1,000 signatures in the petition that's been handed up tonight. There are many, many, many disappointed people around the spot. And I'd just like to say again, we haven't fully consulted this at all. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, Councillor Magner to close the debate.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This amendment represents a very measured, thoughtful approach that acknowledges our council's commitment to
point of order.
urban
Is this
renewal.
an amendment? Is this? He just said an amendment.
Sorry, Councillor Hamilton. Councillor Magner is closing the debate. Please continue in relation to that. I don't believe that Councillor Magner is intending to move an amendment. I think the word amendment was used, but he's clearly closing the debate. So please continue.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The motion represents a balanced, thoughtful approach. It acknowledges our commitment to urban renewal and our responsibility to continue to engage in good faith with our local businesses during the transition. This isn't about taking away anything from our community. It's about reallocating precious public space from temporary car storage to permanent community benefit. Those that oppose this motion would be opposing our continual commitment to engage with the local community to mitigate the adverse impacts of the upgrade and the very careful, detailed work that our professional council officers will be engaging with on mitigating the impacts, communicating with landholders, with local businesses and the surrounding residents, and I therefore commend the motion to you.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, I'll now put the question. All those in favour? There's been a request for a division from Councillors Burst and Councillors Hamilton. We'll now go straight to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. We have Councillor Willington, Magna, Veach, Luxford, Gordon, Asgari, Wilson, Said, D'Souza and the Mayor. All those against? We have Councillors Hamilton, Hay, Rosenfeld, Martin and Burst. I declare the urgent business carried. Thank you. All right, so now where we at, that the matter is concluded. We have, we move down the agenda on the business paper, commencing with mayoral minutes. We'll go through the mayoral minutes first and then we'll have a break. We have MM 16/25 commemorating 80 years since the nuclear destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on the 6th and the 9th of August 1945. Councillors, I take it that you have read the mayoral minute. In that mayoral minute, it identifies that Randwick Council became a member of the Mayors for Peace Network in 2005 under Mayor Matson, endorsed the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons from ICANN, the city's appeal under Mayor Nielsen. Council had been regularly represented, including by Councillor Veach, as well as, I believe, Mayors Parker and Said also attended the Hiroshima exhibit and identified Randwick as prominently identified there. Randwick Council has a long-standing position in relation to this. We have seen increasingly a more hostile and destabilised world, and I think that the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons is something which we all councillors can support, and as a city is something which we don't wish to see in lending our voice as one of hundreds of cities around the world calling for peace. With that, I commend the mayoral minute. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I won't reply to myself. I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to MM 17/25, financial assistance and donations. There's been a request from Our Lady of the Rosary Primary School in Kensington to support their fundraising raffle to the value of $200. I commend the mayoral minute. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Councillors, is there any additional urgent business? There being no further urgent business, I might suggest that we take a 5-minute break, we actually let's do 10 minutes. We've been pretty solid, and we will return at 9:10 through the agenda. Thank you. Do we? Give it 30 seconds. Sir Randwick, 30 seconds. So was Randwick 30 seconds? Thank you, councillors. I now reopen the. Thank you. My watch doesn't. I now reopen the Randwick Council meeting for June at 9:11 p.m. Thank you. We will now move down the agenda. Please challenge items as we go through, commencing with Director, there being no General Manager's reports, commencing with Director of City Planning reports, CP 18/25, Draft Affordable Housing Strategy, challenged by Councillor Gordon. Okay, we now move to Director of City Planning reports, CP 19/25, Community Sustainable School Grants Programs, 24 to 25. Unchallenged. CP 20/25, variations to development standards under clause 4.6, 1 May to 31 May 2025. Unchallenged. CP 21/25, heritage service level review, challenged by Councillor Willington. CS 24/25, waiving of trade waste fees for not-for-profit organisations, challenged by Councillor Burst. CS 25/25, Kensington and West Kingsford local area traffic management study consultation, challenged by Councillor Luxford. Thank you.
My light's on.
CS 26/25, draft urban forest policy, challenged by Councillor Magna. Thank you. CS 27/25, service level review for tree management, challenged by Councillor Willington. CS 28/25, Maroubra Surf Lifesaving Club concept design, challenged by Councillor Gordon.
Of course it is.
Thank you. CS 30/25, service level review, green space, challenged by Councillor Willington. CC 17/25, community halls management service level review, challenged by Councillor Veach. CC 18/25, Surfing New South Wales request for financial assistance, unchallenged. Challenged by Councillor Luxford. CO 32/25, Community Strategic Plan, challenged by Councillor Magna. CO 33/25, Monthly Financial Report for the month of May, unchallenged. CO 34/25, Monthly Investment Report, challenged by Councillor Burst. Okay, can I please have a mover of the unchallenged items? Moved Councillor Rosenfeld, seconded by Councillor Asghari. All those in favour, say aye. Aye. All those against? I declare the unchallenged items carried. Okay, the first challenged item is CP 18/25, Draft Affordable Housing Strategy, challenged by Councillor Gordon. Councillor Gordon, could you please outline what it is you're moving? I'll then call for a seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move business paper plus an amendment that has been sent through to Mr. Kelly. It starts with "and that council requests staff prepare and present." It's on the board there. You don't need to read it out. Seconder. Yeah.
Seconded by Councillor Magna. Councillor Gordon.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, council has come a long way since the first affordable housing scheme was rolled out here in 2004, with the Prince Henry development requiring a 1% provision of affordable housing. For reference, I was 5 years old at the time. Since then, we've had provisions such as in K2K with between 3 and 5%, if I'm correct, contributions to our affordable housing fund and affordable housing units, and the outcome of which I have personally witnessed the results of, having recently had the privilege to get a tour of council's affordable housing units at Lexington Place in Maroubra. I'm really excited to see work towards both an LGA-wide affordable housing strategy and also some movement on my notice of motion in March, which called for action against the net loss of apartments and housing by investigating potential options to possibly modify the LEP or other ways we can achieve that. And I'm quite happy that the staff were able to find examples of this happening in Randwick because I couldn't. But it's, it shows that it's a real necessary measure that we're going to take. Look, I'm also very keen to be regularly updated on the progress of council's affordable housing scheme by means of these regular reports, which are set to be quite detailed, and which is why I'm making the amendment. And on the whole, I'm very happy about this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Magna is the second.
Further to the comments from Councillor Gordon, I'd like to begin by thanking the council officers for the work that they've done on this issue that is increasingly dear to everyone. It's one of our greatest community challenges. Affordability of housing has become a national and an international crisis, and local government has a critical role to play. We need to have housing considered not to be a form of investment, not as a commodity, but as a basic fundamental human right. Our culture has moved away from that, and we need to look to ensure that our nurses and our teachers and our essential workers are able to live in the communities that they are serving. And I think this strategy is an important framework that ensures that people from all walks of life can continue to call Randwick home. I think the annual reporting guidelines that are in this amendment will add a degree of rigour and accountability and ensure that our community is aware of the progress that we're making towards this important goal, and for that reason I commend the motion as amended to the council.
Thank you. Councillor Veach and then Councillor Hay.
Thank you. I've also sent through some amendments to Mr. Kelly. And in the event that these are not accepted by the mover and seconder, I'm hoping that they can be voted on one by one.
All right, thank you. Councillor Gordon, so just to be clear, what Councillor Veach is doing is she's proposing 3 amendments together, and in the event that you can't support it, that we will vote on each section individually, and I'll explain to the meeting what we're doing at each point.
Or if he wants to, if he's prepared to accept some of them and not others, then we can just vote on the remainder separately. I don't mind.
Councillor Gordon, of those 3, 1, 2 and 3, do you support any of them?
I would support 2 and 3, but not 1.
Okay, thank you. So that gets incorporated into the motion. So Mr. Kelly, the component titled Draft Affordable Housing Strategy can be considered as 2, and the second bit, 2.2 Action, can be considered as 3, which remains what is left as the amendment is proposed by Councillor Veach, is substituting the words social housing with public housing. The other components are incorporated.
Yeah.
Councillor Veach, please continue.
Yeah, councillors, and thank you for accepting those 2 items. Councillors, unfortunately, although we do support social housing and public housing are quite different, and we're seeing a complete diminution and gradual sort of attrition of our public housing all across this city. So in Randwick, we're losing public housing to what will become social housing in Maroubra and Kingsford. We're also seeing this happening with estates quite close by in Mascot. We're also not too far away in Glebe, in obviously Waterloo, and many other places. Social housing means that in various different forms, whether it's sold or on 99-year leases, our public housing, these elements of our public housing estate are run by essentially private businesses. Some of them are not-for-profit, some of them are for-profit. They do run under different models. They generally don't allow any young people to apply. So we're seeing increasing homelessness from young people. It's like a public-private model, and we've seen how that falls down, particularly with hospitals and so on. They charge more money and they have much stricter rules than what is applied by public housing. We should be proud as local councillors, as a local government who provide essential public services and public infrastructure for our community, including a small housing portfolio to support public housing, just as we would public schools or public hospitals. In Victoria, all of their current public housing estate is being demolished. So the long-term effects of this are actually incredibly serious. We know that the majority of young people today will be very unlikely to be ever able to afford a home, to buy a home, and many cannot afford to rent. So there will be, we now have well over 50,000 people on the public housing waiting list. That is 100% guaranteed to be probably double that in the coming decades. So I hope Council can support this modest change to support the terminology public housing in our advocacy and policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wellington is the seconder of the proposed amendment?
Yes. I second the proposal that we substitute the words public housing for social housing. Public housing is, as Councillor Veach, you're right, as Councillor Veach has eloquently put it, is vanishing, and with it the opportunity for many people who are very disadvantaged to ever secure housing and a roof over their heads in their own right, and we need to fight for that. That is the bedrock of equitable society, and I support the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon, do you wish to speak on the amendment?
Look, I just wanted to clarify the reason why I don't support this amendment is because it locks council into a specific model of housing, and the biggest risk with doing that is that you end up with fewer homes. I would rather have more homes faster and take more people off the public housing waiting list than be pure about the model of housing that we are using. I've spoken previously to this council to the benefit in certain circumstances of using community housing providers for social housing. There are, of course, accounting reasons why we would do this. It provides less risk to council, but also because CHPs also provide a very specific service. In what they do is they're designed to look after people with complex needs. And the Victorian model, in fact, has been quite successful in massively expanding the amount of social housing available and the help that people living in these houses get. So, no, I wouldn't lock us into a public model.
Thank you. There are any further speakers on the amendment? Okay, there being no further speakers on the amendment, we'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? There's been a request for a division. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Councillor Hay.
CP 18, record of voting required.
Okay, well, there's been a request for a division. So, request for a division from Veitch and Willington. Okay, we'll now go to a vision. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Councillors Willington, Veitch and Asghari. All those against. We have Councillors Hamilton, Magna, Hay, Luxford, Gordon, Rosenfeld, Martin, Wilson, Said, Burst, D'Souza and the Mayor. I declare that amendment lost. We now return to debate on the substantive motion. There is a hand up from Councillor Hay.
I'd like to move an amendment which I sent through to Mr. Kelly. I've spoken many times about the importance of getting social housing, getting affordable housing for key workers. I'd like to remind people that we're talking about police, fire, ambulance, nurses, people who work 24-hour shifts, people who work around the clock in shifts at all hours of the day. And these people, in some of these roles, they put their lives on the line, and we should be very thankful for all the work they do. Now, they get paid 80 or 90,000 a year sometimes, even for young people who are new to the profession. Now, that's good. They deserve the money because they do give so much to us. But if we have a social housing policy that only looks at income, they are considered too rich to live in the local area. So they're in the very unenviable position where they get extra money because they put their lives on the line for us, and they aren't, and because they earn a little bit too much, they have to travel an hour each way, and at all times of the day, because we can't give them some social housing. Now, I've spoken to this a few times, and Council's been against me, but I think we have a fairly watered down version, which I hope everyone can support. The report itself talks about a particular paper that's coming through the legislative, coming from state parliament. What's actually happened on Friday is that paper has been released. So what we can do is we can integrate that into the public consultation and look at a way to deliver essential worker housing through the government paper. Let's work with the state government on this. Let's find a way to get essential worker housing for the members of the community who give so much to us. Let's try to give some back. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon, do you accept the proposed amendment?
I do accept.
Okay, thank you. The proposed amendment gets incorporated into the motion. Are there any further speakers? Councillor D'Souza.
Mr. Mayor, I think what's being offered is the right balance. And I think the right balance has been reached. The shortage of residential accommodation has also been addressed. More importantly, more units will be donated for affordable housing, which will help our essential service workers and others in need. As Councillor H.Y. William Chan from City of Sydney said, this is density done well. This project, Mr. Mayor, is born from compromise, respects the density of the area, and is built on good design principles. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor D'Souza. There being no further speakers, Councillor Gordon, do you wish to close the debate?
Just quickly to thank everyone who participated in this policy-making exercise, and I'm glad that this is hopefully going to get through council.
Thank you. Now, put it. It identifies that a record of voting is required. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Okay, we have. This is the motion as moved by Councillor Gordon. Okay, so we've got Councillors Hamilton, Willington, Magna, Veitch. It appears that it's unanimous. Thank you. Alrighty, we now move to CP 21/25 Heritage Service Level Review, challenged by Councillor Willington. Councillor Willington, could you please outline what it is you are moving? I would then call for a seconder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There is a great deal of good work done by council officers in the heritage space, and I wish to acknowledge that and thank them for it. At the briefing, it was persuasively put that this the heritage services could be provided by continuing with the staffing as currently at a 1.4 full-time equivalent. However, the balance of 0.6 doesn't seem to be an excessive amount, even with on-cost in our council, to consider option 3, which would be 2 FTEs. And because as with all the changes and different planning provisions that are coming up, and seeing the frequency with which heritage items come before council, and the advantage of being able to be more proactive in this area, it would seem reasonable that we should perhaps consider going with option 3 to increase the existing staffing by 0.6 of an FTE to 2 full-time staff. So my amendment is that we have a new point A, that council notes the findings of the Heritage Service Level Review and recommends the adoption of option 3 to increase the existing staffing from 0.6 by 0.6 FTE from 1.4 to 2 full-time staff, and that A becomes B and B becomes C. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Asghari. Councillor Asghari is the seconder.
I have a question. No, I'm just going to...
No, it's okay. Councillor Veitch is just asking a question. I will then go to Councillor Asghari as the seconder.
I don't believe we were getting rid of the original point B. No. So I think it was just a change in the number. It's up there now. Yeah, it wasn't there before.
Thank you. Councillor Asghari is the seconder.
I agree with whatever Councillor Willington said, and I recommend to accept what she agreed with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Asghari. Are there any further speakers? Yeah, so Councillor Asghari is the seconder. Mr. Kelly? Thank you. Councillor Hamilton has a question.
I have a question through to the relevant officer, that have we provided any provisions in our budget for an uplift in, in staff in this way? Or do we have any wiggle room? I don't think.
Through to the relevant officer.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Hamilton, no, we have not.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Du, just because you're the mover of the motion, you have the opportunity to reply. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, feel free to close the debate.
If it were impossible within the current budgetary provisions to consider the option 3 of the full 2 full-time FTE, we could possibly consider it in the following and subsequent years. I'm not quite sure how I would change it. Just change it? So put it in so that we add to my new point A that the option 3 be considered in the year 26-27 and ongoing. No.
Okay, thank you. Just in relation to that, I just have a follow-up question through to the General Manager. That particular amendment, could I just understand what would be envisaged to come to Council for Council's consideration in considering that slight amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it was in the form of be considered in the 26-27 budget, we'd build it into the budget. If it stays as it is, we would take money from the consultancy budget for the heritage to fund the 0.6 salary, because as Councillor Hepburn says, we have made no provisions for that in the current budget.
Okay, through. I just have one further additional question in relation to this particular proposal, because I don't in principle have any opposition to it, but I do take the advice from the staff in relation to this.
So point of order, Mayor, you're the chair of the meeting and you're sitting asking questions. You did this at the last meeting and I didn't say anything, but you're sitting asking questions and you're engaging in debate from the chair. It's not your role. I have a question. People around the room have questions. It's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, Councillor Hamilton, respectfully, the chair does have the ability to ask a question under the code.
You're not supposed to engage in debate. You just started to say you wanted to ask a question and you want to have a follow-up question. So you either sit in the chair and chair the meeting, or you come down here and sit with us.
Councillor Hamilton, I'm about to ask a follow-up question from the Director of City Planning. I think it would be quite... I think...
Yeah,
so just hold on.
Arguing and trying to influence
Councillor,
the decisions
Councillor
of councillors.
Councillor Hamilton.
I've got a
I think it
question.
would
I
be
mean, I'm allowed to ask a question, so you're not...
I think the suggestion for me to leave the chair in order to ask a question would be quite an impost.
Well, you've actually done it before.
Okay.
In your first ever meeting, you jumped out of your
Okay.
chair, you raced around, you sat down, and you put the deputy mayor there so that you could
Thank you.
get engaged in the debate.
Thank-
All I'm saying is, you're taking up time asking questions when you're the chair, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So you should be allowing us to ask the questions and debate as we are the councillors on the floor.
Thank you, Councillor Hamilton. I think I've really indulged that for some time. My question through to the Director of City Services is, could you please outline the basis of the recommendation for 1.4 as opposed to 2 for us? Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. The service review recommendation of retaining the current staff level was to then have a consultancy budget then supported the staff. And what that means is that at times of high workload or at times where we need expertise that we don't have in-house, that gives us a budget to call on staff to, or a consultant or a heritage contractor to come in and work with us to clear backlogs, to answer responses, or to do studies or court work that we need, especially if we don't have that expertise in-house. So that's why that option 1 was the preferred option.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
I would just want to speak against the motion and against these amendments to it, especially given that we understand the service level reviews are undertaken, and as a member of ARIC, I can tell everyone here that they are exhaustive. They are, the committee themselves are very critical of the staff's review and the processes that they follow. And so when they come back to us with these recommendations, we really should be listening to those recommendations. But on top of that, when it comes to staffing, I've had staff, it takes forever to even get a 0.5 or a 0.4 half the time, because you've got to put up a huge business case and you have to really convince HR and your boss and the bosses above that and all the whole, executive team that there is enough work there that's going to occupy somebody else. So it's really, I would caution against people around the room just dropping in, oh, well, it could be just 2 full-time staff, because we don't understand the workload. We don't understand what's required of the 1.4. And so I think that given the recommendation and given the fact that I know it would have been a very exhaustive service level review based on exact hours to do work, exact man hours, women hours, whatever you want to say, I don't want to upset anyone, but exact hours to conduct the work through a working week, then we need to leave it as it is. So I don't agree with us on the floor just rejecting a recommendation and making a decision that's going to impact not just financially, but also they have to make sure that they've got someone that can move from a 0.4 to a 2. And if they can't, then they have to do job share, then they have to advertise, and then HR. So it becomes a very costly exercise, and I know from firsthand that it's not something you can just do like that.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Sid.
I won't speak on it, but I'll just say that I'll foreshadow as per the business paper if it loses.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. There being no further speakers, Councillor Willington, would you like to close the debate?
Oh, is that all right? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against? No. I declare that lost. Okay, thank you. Councillor said you foreshadowed to move as per the business paper?
I have, Mr. Mayor, and I'll just close it at that. We've debated enough.
Thank you very much, Councillor Burst.
Reserve the right.
Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to CS 24/25, waiving of tradeways fees for not-for-profit organisations. Councillor Burst, could you please outline what it is you're moving? I'll then call for a seconder.
I'd like to move it as per the business paper.
Thank you. Councillor seconder, Councillor Martin.
I just still have one question to the relevant officer. On page 79, where it's section 5, eligibility, 5.2, it's got the providers that are getting these benefits. There's Meals on Wheels there. Is that the Matraville office Meals on Wheels? It is. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
There's a lot of outlets.
Thank you. Councillor Martin is the seconder. Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to CS 26/25, draft urban foreign policy, draft urban forest policy. Sorry, my apologies. CS 25/25, Kensington and West Kingsford local area traffic management study challenged by Councillor Luxford. That was nearly a very costly mistake. Seconded by Councillor Hay.
So I'd just like to move as per the recommendation, but with a slight amendment, adding a point 26, which adds in council investigate the inclusion of the Day Avenue, Doncaster Avenue roundabouts and the Barker and Houston Road roundabout. Yes. This is a good outcome, I think, for Kensington and West Kingsford. There are some good things that are going to be happening here within our streets. So, yeah, I just think it's wonderful and move it as it is there with the slight amendment.
Councillor Hayes, the seconder.
Yes, I'd like to, firstly thank the council staff. This has been many years in the making, and it's great to see this finally get off the ground. So I would like to move a slight amendment on point C25. Having a having an area-wide 40km/h zone is it's admirable on the side streets, but apologies. Can I ask Mr. Kelly? I sent an updated version of that, not. I'm aware. So it's without Lenthal Street. If we could just remove. So I'm very concerned that if we force Anzac Parade to be 40km/h all the way through Kensington and the bulk of Kingsford, that will cause way too many traffic problems, and it will cause half the reason why people do rat runs is because they're convinced that going through the side street will be faster than going through the main street. If you make the main street slow, that is going to make the rat run problem much worse. So, is there a problem?
I don't think Anzac Parade was ever meant to be
Area-wide. It says Point C25 explicitly says an area-wide 40-kilometre-hour speed limit that includes Anzac Parade, that includes Todman Avenue. So, Todman Avenue, the part west of Anzac Parade, that last east block, that's effectively residential. That can stay 40 kilometres an hour. But the area Todman from Anzac Parade to Moore Park Supercentre should also remain 50 k's an hour. I think that if we slow traffic too much, we have, like I said, it'll force more rat running to happen instead of taking it away. Thank you. Yes, yeah. So can that be incorporated as part of C25, Mr. Kelly?
So, well, no, just hold on, thank you. Just before we go to this, Councillor Hay, as the seconder of the motion, has proposed an amendment, at which point I will then need to ask Councillor Luxford if she accepts it. If she doesn't accept it, I will then need to call for another seconder, and then you'll be required to amend the motion. So, Councillor Luxford, you do accept it. Okay. It's now incorporated with the new point C. Now, are there any further speakers? Councillor Veach.
I support the motion and, in theory, the amendments. I've got one more amendment that I hope the speakers will consider, which is that council investigate the inclusion of safety measures on the intersection of Cottenham Avenue and Roma Avenue, as this has been an intersection. Issues have been raised there by residents over many, many years, and for some reason it was excluded. Yeah.
Councillor Luxford, do you look, Councillor Veach, just for the benefit of Mr. Kelly, could you just outline exactly what it is that you're seeking to move, and then I will ask Councillor Luxford if she accepts.
It's an additional point that council investigate the inclusion of safety measures at the intersection of Cottenham Avenue, which is spelt COTTENHAM, and Roma Avenue, Kensington.
Thank you. Councillor Luxford, do you accept? It gets incorporated into the motion. Now, are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, Councillor Luxford, do you wish to close the debate? Okay, I'll now put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. CS 26/25 Draft Urban Forest Policy, moved by Councillor Magna. Councillor Magna, could you please outline what it is you're moving? I will then call for a seconder.
I'm moving a recommendation as per the business paper and the addition of a new clause E. The clause E requests that council examine the feasibility of increasing our urban forest canopy cover beyond the proposed 22% by 2040 target. And it's a detailed set of requests about resources. Let me just start though by thanking and acknowledging the work of...
Seconded by Councillor Veach.
Thank you, Councillor Veach. I want to acknowledge the environmental team and the arborists and all of those involved in the Resilience Committee for their outstanding work. Complicated piece of integrating different legacy policies and strategies into a new urban forest policy. A bit of back and forth from this council, but it's an area that's very important to our community. The urban canopy cover is invaluable to our commitment to climate leadership, and the amendment is about really ambition. Our original target was 40%. We're now proposing that it be 22%. It's a pretty big difference. And at first flush, it's a disappointing one. But when that original target was set, I understand that it was in commission target for Sydney-wide, and we wanted to be in lockstep with them. Understandable. Now we've got the benefit of further knowledge, we've got further tree plotter tracking tools, we've got greater knowledge of the challenges that we face in our particular council area because of parcels of land that are beyond our operational control, that we don't have sphere of influence, including the racecourse, the university, the hospital precinct, the national park, Centennial Park, and beyond, private property, etc. But nevertheless, when you look around the world, cities like Melbourne, even cities like Singapore have set really ambitious urban forest environmental targets for tree coverage. So this is about the council officers examining whether or not there is any potential for further ambition, what resources it would take for us to accomplish that, and being transparent with us as council representatives, but also the community that we represent, in ensuring that we are making progress year on year towards meeting that goal. And if we do need to apply for money, if we do need to apply for further grants, if there is potential budget challenges, what are those? How can we reassemble those? Is it achievable that we can go beyond the 22%? All that feasibility will give us the evidence base to make a better informed decision about what we now recognise is an investment in our environmental capital. And if we can achieve these higher targets, we need to know how. And if we can't, we just need to understand why. So I commend the resolution as per the business paper and the amendment to the council. Thank you.
Councillor Veitch is the second.
Thank you. I'd like to speak in support. I also have an amendment to add to those put forward by Councillor Magna. And the amendments are to commence community consultation on the significant tree register no later than October 2025, and to receive a draft of the comprehensive urban forest strategy for public exhibition no later than July 2026. So the significant tree register has not been updated since 2007. Yep. And we also, it's been raised at the Greening Randwick Committee over 5 years ago on many occasions. I know many residents have been in touch with it, councillors have raised it with staff, and we also have a council resolution from Councillor Olive, I think dating back to perhaps July last year. So it's really time that we got cracking on this. It means the community can make submissions and nominate trees that they believe should be on this register. And the second one relates to the much more comprehensive urban forest strategy that has been discussed at the Resilience Committee. And this was supported. Many other councils have, these detailed strategies that are anywhere from 50 to 100 pages long, just going into that fine-grained detail of the types of trees, in what areas, how we're going to cool our city, and so on. So these are documents that are in place in many councils now, and this is what we're looking to do, and I hope we can ensure that that gets started as soon as possible. Additional staff have already been engaged, and I understand that consultants are already being engaged, so hopefully this will be doable. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I call for an alternate seconder, can I just confirm, Councillor Magna, if you accept the proposed amendments?
I do.
Okay, as the amendments have been incorporated into the motion, I can now call for other speakers. Are there any other speakers on the motion? Councillor Said, and then Councillor Veitch. Not Councillor Luxford.
Mr. Mayor, I can't support the motion. As in we had the aspirational 40%. And at the time, I remember, and I've spoken on this, I think if you look through, it's been brought up about 3 or 4 times. And each time, I've had to point out to the people who may not realise that to get to 40%, which is virtually impossible, we have the Prince of Wales Hospital, the Randwick Racecourse, as the mover mentioned, the university, 5 golf courses, 1 national park, Long Bay Jail, major parks, Hepburn Park, Chifley, industrial areas, the port, Randwick, Coogee and Clovelly are probably the most densely built parts, not only in RLGA but also in Sydney, Arthur Byrne Reserve. So I think the council officers have put a lot of hours, days, time into this, and I really think they've come up with probably an aspirational and achievable 22%. And once we achieve that 22%, I think we can go from there and we can thank them, and then we can plan to go even further. But at the most, why go through all this again? We're virtually asking for them to do everything they've done, but in some way find more percentages. So I just foreshadow that if it does lose, that we go back to the original business paper.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, Councillor Magna, do you wish to close the debate?
Only to point out that the motion is to incorporate the original business paper and just to invite the council officers to investigate the feasibility of whether or not we could have higher targets and what resources and staged implementation would be necessary. And that would then be brought back to the council before we gave any commitment to increasing the target beyond that incorporated in the business paper.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? No. I declare that there's been there has been a request for a division from Councillors Veitch and Rosenfeld. All those in favour of the motion as moved by Magna Veitch, please raise your hand. Okay, we have Councillor Willington, Magna, Veitch, Gordon, Asghari, Wilson, D'Souza and the Mayor. All those against. We have Councillors Hamilton, Hay, Luxford, Rosenfeld, Martin, Said, Burst. I declare the motion carried. Thank you.
Mr Mayor, I've got a procedural motion, given that we've basically got a lot to go through, and as Councillor Willington so eloquently put it at our workshop, that we can't have such late meetings because the staff have very long trips home. It's very unsafe, and I fully agree with you. 2 minutes speeches. I'm happy for more than 2 for, 2 against, but just 2 minute speeches from now on.
Procedural motion for 2 minute speeches. Seconded, Councillor Said. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? No. Declare that carried. Thank you. All right, we now move to... okay, thank you, councillors. We now move to CS 27/25, Service Level Review Tree Management, challenged by Councillor Willington. Councillor Willington, could you please outline what it is you're moving? I'll then call for a seconder. In 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Mr. Kelly, you have my my amendment. I take the points. I fully acknowledge the extremely rigorous process that is undertaken in a service level review, and bearing that in mind, having carefully read this service level review, I would like to just add a couple of points to a new point A and B, and so that the original points A becomes C and the original point B becomes D. So that Council notes and endorses the proactive approach to the care of Randwick's urban forest, and further notes that the forest provides essential habitat for Randwick's native animals and birds. And B, all proactive measures possible will be taken to protect and preserve wildlife, including selecting trees that provide appropriate food and shelter for wildlife, creation of hollows and nesting boxes, and liaison with wires prior to the planned removal or pruning of any tree likely to be inhabited by nesting birds or other wildlife, and that this be also required of any contractors working on behalf of council.
Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Veach. Councillor Veach.
I'll just speak briefly. Look, it's really important when it does come down to trees being removed, large trees or even heavily pruned, that we get wires down. We have had some really awful situations where residents have been frantically calling because a tree is being removed and there's nesting birds in there, and it's horrendous. So we really need to ensure that in those unfortunate cases when a tree does need to come down, that the wildlife are taken care of.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? If you like.
Councillors, we've just been through a few years of clearing a backlog. This is going to double our paperwork on every single tree. Inhabited by any tree likely to be inhabited by nesting birds. That's virtually every single tree in the council. Councillors, we've just gone through a period where 2 years ago I had people waiting a month to have a tree officer coming out. We've just gotten that backlog down. This is going to dramatically double the amount of paperwork we have to do on every single time we touch any tree in council. This is going to completely throw everything off. I urge everyone to thoroughly vote against this, and I'll foreshadow moving it as per the business paper.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Wellington.
Yeah, I would point out that there are already provisions that that there have to be wildlife spotters engaged in every single tree that is pruned or scheduled for removal. It's just to enshrine that and to point it out.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Wellington has closed the debate. I will now put the motion as moved in an amended fashion by councillors Wellington and Veach. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Aye. I declare the amendment carried. Division. There's been a request for a division. There you go. That's why we have it. So, division from councillors Hamilton and D'Souza and the Mayor. All those against? We have councillors Hamilton, Hay, Luxford, Rosenfeld, Martin, Wilson, Said and Burst. I declare the motion as lost. Now, foreshadowed as per the business paper.
I'll move as per the business paper.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by councillor... Seconded by councillor Rosenfeld. Councillor Hay is the mover.
I move as per the business paper.
Councillor Rosenfeld.
Reserve my right.
Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Declare that carried. Councillor Veach would like her name recorded as voting against. Thank you. All right. Thank you. We now move to CS 30, I believe. No, CS 28, Maroubra/25, Maroubra Surf Lifesaving Club concept design. Moved Councillor Gordon, seconded Councillor Luxford. Councillor Gordon, could you please outline what it is you're moving?
As per the business paper.
Thank you. Councillor Luxford as the seconder. Yeah, you can. Yep. Thank you. Councillor Gordon.
I'll read something up. Look, I'm just really glad to see this project coming together. I was just at the surf club the other week, and the existing building is storied and full of history, but with its age also comes significant structural issues. Now, this update has had a re-endorsement from the Maroubra Surf Club membership, so we are ready to proceed to public consultation. And I'd just like to thank those councillors who have stood by the surf club during this entire process, who have listened to club leadership, and who have let this process be truly collaborative and community-led, so we can build a structure that can serve the Maroubra community for another 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Luxford is the second. Thank you. Councillor Rosenfeld.
Okay, I've got an amendment. I sent it through to David Kelly. So basically my amendment, I'm happy with points A, B and C. However, I'm adding a point D that once the building is complete, ask the Maroubra Surf Life Saving Club to consider and communicate general public access to club on set day times, i.e. Sunday afternoons. Now, the reason for that is that we've had a fair bit of communication, especially from Maroubra Precinct, but from others as well, that if we're going to spend this amount of money, both from the council and also from state and federal government, that they would like to see the general public be able to have more access to the club than they do now. Other surf clubs do give general public access. It's only usually one afternoon a week. Both in this LGA, I've also seen it quite, when I was on holiday on the Central Coast, I saw it. It was very, very popular. I think it's important that general public have some access. It'll be fairly limited access, but they'll have some access once it's complete, once the beautiful new club is complete. I ask you to support, given that, and Mr. Mayor, you know yourself from being at Maroubra Precinct, that majority of people have said that, given all the money being spent, they would like to see general public have more access to the facility. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon, do you accept the amendment?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Gets incorporated into it. We will now go to Councillor Hamilton, then I'll see a hand up from Councillor Said. Have I missed anyone there? Hamilton said? No, it's for 2 minutes. Hamilton said. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you. I commend this, and I think this is great. I've had a look at the concept designs, and it looks to me like there have been some really intelligent improvements. And to Councillor Gordon's point about support from everyone, this surf club has had unanimous voting for it to continue to go ahead. So it's always supported by all councillors, all surf life saving clubs have been. And so, yeah, I think this is a really good idea, and I'm so glad that you accepted that they consider, at the completion of the building, consider some kind of public access, because one day when you're not a councillor, it'd be nice for you to be able to visit.
Councillor Said.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to commend the new designers, because as pointed out the last meeting, that it was the last design that we had, and the whole concept of a whole new building was to have more storage. And the last concept had a void in the middle, had rounded edges, had enough room for about 2 IRBs. It's fantastic that someone's actually thought, let's go practical over presence. It does look good as well, but it's also fantastic that an architect has actually gone for substance and practicality. And I think this is a really good design, and I think it really uplifts the whole area.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor D'Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I fully support and the amendment, because surf clubs, Mr. Mayor, are very, very important to our community. They're not just built with bricks and mortar, but passion and memories, lots of passion and lots of memories. It's a place to nurture our future leaders and sporting champions, a place for members to come back, to rekindle friendships and yarn about old times. Many of the young people, Mr. Mayor, that volunteer at the Surf Club grow up to lead, change and build a better world. Needless to say, surf life-saving clubs like Maroubra offer opportunities, training, education to young people to become better citizens of the world. Surf life-saving clubs such as Maroubra, Mr. Mayor, instill in our youth the desire to selflessly serve society as volunteers and to save and protect lives. They're an important part of our community, an integral part of our coastal lifestyle of Randwick residents. And that's why I support what's on our business paper, and I commend Councillor Rosenfeld for his amendment, because it further goes to encapsulate what we believe in, that sense of community, and broadening the opportunity for community to enjoy what council, local government, federal and state governments have invested. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, Councillor Gordon, do you wish to close the debate? I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to... It's unfortunate. We now move to CS30/25 Service Level Review Green Space, challenged by Councillor Willington. Councillor Willington, could you please outline what it is you are moving? And then I will call for a seconder.
Yes. Acknowledging the work of everyone, put in all the rigorous review of this service review. Just to reiterate and to strengthen the issue in relation to chemical herbicides and pesticides, point A, new point A, Council notes recommendation 3 in the report, and will work to minimise the use of chemical herbicides and pesticides that bioaccumulate or in any way damage fauna and threaten biodiversity. And the point A becomes B and point B becomes C. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Veach. Councillor Veach.
Yeah, look, we know that, for example, insect populations are collapsing globally. I've personally seen that in our own LGA, areas such as Malabar Headland in spring, which used to be, you know, covered in bees. You would hear them as you walk along. That just seems to have gone. Many of the sort of golden orb spiders and so on, which we used to sort of battle through at night. If you ever walked in any bushy area at night, they've kind of completely disappeared. You know, we used to have thousands of cicadas and moths and things. And also we see birds actually graze on our parklands that often get sprayed. Many of our parks, you'll see all different types of birds, you know, foraging for insects and so on. The fact that we use so many herbicides and pesticides is doing damage. Councils can make a big impact by reducing to only the where absolutely essential sort of toxic chemical herbicides and pesticides, because we've already seen the communities of tiny insects which our other species rely on as well, and of course we rely on them to pollinate eastern suburbs, Banksia scrub and gardens and so on. So I urge you to support this amendment.
Thank you. Councillor
Could I just
Gordon?
foreshadow as per the business paper?
Okay, thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, we'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? I declare that lost. Councillor Gordon, you foreshadow moving as per the business paper. Moved Councillor Gordon, seconded Councillor Burst. Councillor Gordon?
Wave my right.
Thank you. Councillor Burst? Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to CC17/25 Community Halls Management Service Level Review, challenged by Councillor Veach.
I've sent through some amendments to Mr. Kelly. So there's just a couple of little additions. We really thank you for the report. Our local community centres and halls are, you know, really important pieces of public and community infrastructure for many, many different types of activities, just as important as our parks and playgrounds and sporting fields. I've got 3 amendments which I hope you will support. One is to, and this is to actually get a report looking at these things in time for them to be considered. So it's not saying do them, it's saying if we could just get a report on these three things and approve everything else in it. So I hope this is something that can be supported. The first thing I'd like to see in the report is can we look at reducing fees to increase the utilisation of our halls? Because if you saw in the report, so many of our halls are underutilised. You know, if we actually made them cheaper to hire, we might get greater utilisation, and it will probably just balance out the reduction in fees anyway. So this is just a bit of a no-brainer. We should definitely look at it, I think. The other one is to conduct an audit of the AV equipment, which I think is already in there. But by next year, we should be trying to, or for consideration of the following budget for 2026-27, we should be looking to try and get at least one screen and AV equipment in each of a hall in each of all the 5 wards. So that's really, at the moment, we've only got a screen in the Kensington Community Centre in one of the halls there, one of the 2 halls there, and there's one at the new Matraville Youth Centre. Most other councils have screens, so I hope you can support that. And so just very quickly, there was also an item in here to say, let's try and upgrade the town hall with like some AV equipment so we can have performances. Can we just get a report to see if we can sort of put that in, consider it in for next year's budget and the one after, to get a sound desk and so on, so we can actually support live music, not having to hire that equipment all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. The second, I'm going to go to Councillor Councillor Wellington, then to Councillor Asghari.
I'll just second it as put by Councillor Veitch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Asghari.
I reserve my right.
Thank you very much. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Said.
Actually, I support the actual amendments, but I just wanted to ask a question, relevant officer. For the last few years, I think ever since I've been here, we've been trying to upgrade the town hall. Is that still in plan, or is there still a commitment to doing up the town hall?
Through to the relevant officer.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, there are still some plans in place as a staged approach.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, we'll now put. Oh, I take it you don't wish to close the debate? No. I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to CO 32/25, the Community Strategic Plan 25 to 29 Delivery Program. Sorry, I apologise. I've skipped CC 18/25 Surfing New South Wales request for financial assistance, challenged by Councillor Luxford. Moved Councillor Luxford, seconded by Councillor Burst.
I'd just like to move as per the business paper. It's great to have a nice little bit of a surfing competition happening when we stage our beach breaks carnival. They go hand in hand, and Surfing New South Wales is right on our doorstep. So it's always good to support them and the up and coming young surfers that are at that carnival.
Councillor Burst.
Surfing New South Wales do a great job, and this financial assistance will be well received. Thank you.
Cool. Councillor Veitch.
Sorry, I've got a couple of them. Oh, no, wrong one.
No worries. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to CO 32/25, the Community Strategic Plan 25 to 29 Delivery Program, 25 to 26 Operational Plan and Budget, Fees and Charges and Resourcing Strategy. Challenged by Councillor Magna. Could you please outline what it is you're moving? I'll then call for a seconder.
The resolution as per the business paper.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Hay. Councillor Magna, could you please outline, please speak to your motion?
Before I address the motion, I just want to thank the council officers for the good work that they've done, the comprehensive briefings that they afforded us and the opportunity for us to ask detailed questions. It's clearly a large amount of work has gone into this suite of documents, and the timing and integrity of those as a package, I think, is one that we as officers of this council, elected officials of this council, exercising our fiduciary responsibilities, it's incumbent upon us to maintain that integrity. There might be areas, and I'm foreshadowing that there will be an anticipated amendment where you could say, what about this or what about that? But any planning document, there's always going to be questions that you might think, we could put a budget line item here or we could move that there. I think the temptation in that to just add one more project risks delaying difficult decisions, and good governance means accepting comprehensive consultation process that serves the community in the longer term. So I urge my colleagues to support these documents without amendment. They might not be perfect, but they represent a careful, considered work of professional staff guided by genuine community consultation.
Thank you. Before I go to the second, was there something? We're all good? Okay, Councillor Hay.
Thanks to all the staff for putting in a lot of effort, and I hope to see this go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Veach.
Last amendment for the night. Sorry, everyone.
I'll let it go.
Thank you. Yeah, obviously, if the mover and seconder are happy to accept some of them, when we can just debate the other one. One is that council identify a total of 120k savings out of the Christmas decorations, Rabbitohs and Roosters partnerships to put towards community development programs. We're spending, over 600k on all of this. It's quite a lot of money. This is a relatively small amount out of each of those that could go to people, really disadvantaged members of our community. The other two ones just relate to one of the attachments, which is the workforce strategy. And the first bit of those is to continue to identify and offer opportunities for casual staff engaged in regular work for a period of over 12 months to be engaged as a permanent. We're not covered under the federal award where this applies. However, staff working under the local government state award do have the ability to request permanency when they're in that situation, and the industry, the sector as a whole, is encouraging councils to decrease their amount of casuals, and so this would be to look at opportunities and offer them. Obviously, if people don't wish to become permanent, we wouldn't be forcing anyone. And then the third one, this is just a tiny addition to something that's already there. Which is just where we're looking to create opportunities and remove barriers for women, Indigenous Australians and youth to work with us and to add people with disability.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so as I have consistently said, I'll take a declaration at any point. Councillor Rosenfeld.
Okay, now I've seen the amendment. I just need to declare that none significant, none pecuniary. I'm a member of the Sydney Roosters, have been for a long time. I'll still be voting and debating on the matter.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Veach, with your indulgence, I propose to put what you're proposing. There are 3 amendments there to Councillor Magna in 3 parts. The first being that Council identifies a total saving of $120,000 out of the Christmas decorations, Rabbitohs Roosters partnership to put forward the community development programs. Councillor Magna, do you accept that proposed amendment?
With some reluctance, no.
Thank you. Okay. The second proposed one relates to the workforce strategy, employee value proposition, an additional point to continue to identify and offer opportunities for casual staff engaged in regular work for a period of over 12 months to be engaged as permanent. Do you accept that particular proposed amendment?
I do.
Thank
It is
you.
already a right under the Fair Work Act, but nevertheless, it's accepted.
Thank you. And then the thank you. And then the third component, the workforce strategy, pathways amendment, identifying barriers to create opportunities that will enhance the pathways for women, Indigenous Australians, youth and people with disability. Do you accept that?
Yes.
Okay, so councillors, what that leaves us is a proposed amendment in the name of Veach and... Do I have a seconder? And Willington. And the amendment reads that council identify a total of 120,000 in savings out of the Christmas decorations, South Sydney Rabbitohs, Roosters, partnerships to put towards community development programs. There are no further words. You've already spoken to it. Councillor Willington, do you wish to speak to your amendment?
No, I reserve my right, thank you.
Okay, are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put the amendment. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against? No. I think that was a clear loss. Okay, I declare that lost. Thank you. We now move back to the debate on the motion as amended, which incorporated those 2 points relating to the workforce strategy. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Seb.
Mr Mayor, I've just got a question. Workforce Pathways 4, the workforce strategy. We've had very good identifying barriers. We've been doing this for years and we do it very well, and we've had programs for Indigenous kids and women and youth and people with disabilities. I just have a question about what aren't we doing well and why are we changing it and what are we adding to it?
Thank you. Through to the Director of Corporate Services.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As I understand it, the amendment largely revolves around the bold text of that paragraph, which is "and people with disabilities." So probably an oversight on our behalf in our documentation, to be perfectly honest.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers on the motion as amended? There being no further speakers, Councillor Magna, do you wish to close the debate?
I reserve my rights.
No worries. Thank you. We'll now put it. All those in favour? All those against? Declare that carried. Congratulations, councillors, on passing your first budget for the new ones. All right, we now move to CO 34/25, Monthly Investment Report, May 2025, challenged by Councillor Burst. Councillor Burst, could you please outline what it is you're moving, and then I'll call for a seconder. Councillor Rosenfeld is a seconder.
I'd like to move it as per the business papers. I do have a question through the relevant officer on page 171, investment performance. I've noticed that quite clearly the council's portfolio is outperforming the official cash rate and the Aussie bond bank bill index. So obviously the mix of investments we're using is working successfully for us. So obviously by not putting too many constraints on our investment portfolio, we're able to get maximum returns. Is there anything you could add to that, Stephen?
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Through to the Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The council had forecasted at the beginning of the financial year that interest rates will fall according to the forecasts of the Reserve Bank of Australia. We have looked at our cash management and also invested in a longer term maturing term deposits, which has given us higher interest rates over the cash rate as we stand year to date. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There being no... No, it's seconded by Councillor Rosenfeld. No, it is. He was he was very attentive. There being no further speakers, then I'll put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to notice of motion 58/25 from Councillor Martin, micro-mobility, parking and management. Councillor Martin.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to draw your attention to a photo that you all have on your desks, please. If you can have a look. This is a recent photo of Coogee Bay Road.
Seconded by Councillor Hamilton.
As they say, a picture tells 1,000 words. Councillors, you'll find in your notes this photo for you to look at. Now, if that doesn't convince you that we need to have some action on this issue right now, I'm not sure what will. Please look at the photo. We have pedestrians and prams, we have pedestrians and dogs, outdoor diners, plus about 15 e-bikes all sharing the footway. Surely this is not what the community wants. In fact, we know it's not what the community wants, as we can read about it every day on our social media, in the press and on our community platforms. Improperly parked e-bikes pose a significant risk to the pedestrians, especially those with disabilities and mobility issues. They block footpaths, roads and building entrances. Just last week, I was at the doctor's and an elderly lady was suffering from a huge gash to her forehead, the result of tripping over an e-bike that had just been left strewn across the ground. We are elected by our community to represent them at a local level to address local issues that are a concern to them. That is our responsibility, not to wait for other authorities to make decisions which may or may not address our needs. Our neighbouring councils, Waverley and Bayside, have recently entered into a similar MOU with bike operators, and I know our community expects and wants Randwick Council to do the same. 3 months ago, I put this notice of motion up, and had it been accepted, would have been one of the leaders on this issue, but it wasn't. We missed our chance, and I feel we let our community down. The establishment of the MOU between Council and the e-bike operators will right now address community concerns that they have had for some time since the e-bikes flooded our streets. An MOU is not a contract.
Point of order, sorry, time.
Do that when you close it,
Wow.
You get to close it.
Can I have an extension of time? As I've nearly
Is there a
finished.
procedural motion to give an extension of time?
Second.
There's a procedure. Move Councillor Burst, Councillor Hamilton for an additional 2 minutes. Please continue. Laws and
I won't
laws
take that
against
long.
go.
An MOU is not a contract, it can be changed, but what it does do tonight, it gives council authority to act on behalf of our community and hold the bike operators more responsible. Previously, when asked, the General Manager said that he was already drafting a pseudo MOU, so formalising an agreement should be fairly straightforward. Councillors, I urge you not to make this about politics tonight, but to consider instead what our community wants and expects of us as councillors. And that is to take action when we can, and I believe we are in a position to act on this issue tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton as a seconder.
Thank you. I just want to stand up and just support Councillor Martin. She's been working really hard on the e-bike challenge that they have down at Coogee, and I think that it is about time councillors around this room to support this, help push this along and help the residents get some reprieve from this issue.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Magner.
I want to begin by acknowledging Councillor Martin's genuine concern and interest in mobility management. The issues are real and they're genuine, and there is a degree of frustration about poorly parked bikes and e-scooters. However, there is a state government inquiry that is underway that's actually made recommendations, that's been conducted, and the New South Wales government is working on a set of measures that our council and all councils will be able to implement uniformly across New South Wales. The risk in this motion is that the best solution is state leadership and state coordinated action rather than a piecemeal council by council response that raises the risk that there could be even greater confusion and ambiguity about the appropriate way for e-bikes to be managed in our community. So while I commend Councillor Martin's intentions in passing this motion, I think it would be better that council joins and coordinates with the state government and with other councils to ensure that we've got a statewide comprehensive regulation of e-bikes and focus our energy on where we can make a meaningful difference at the appropriate time. For that reason, I urge you to oppose this motion.
Thank you. I had a hand up from Councillor Wilson.
A question to the relevant officer. Does council, if it does enter into an MOU, have any actual right to enforce conditions on private hire bike operators?
Through to the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I envisage it to be similar to Waverley Council, where there was an agreement with the operators. There was they entered into a voluntary agreement for them to do that, and they're working along those partnership principles. We can't enforce, but we can certainly, if the Waverley example is there certainly was a voluntary agreement to participate.
But if the agreement goes, the e-bike operator doesn't abide by the agreement, do we have any ability to enforce the MOU? That was my question.
Through to the General Manager.
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Councillor Magna, did you have a follow-up question?
Further question, actually, to the appropriate officer. How many resources, ranger resources, would it require to effectively implement the enforcement aspects of this resolution? And how many resources do we have at present, and what would the cost implications be of going from where we are now to where we would need to be?
Thank you. Through to the General Manager.
Can't answer that one right now, obviously, Councillor Magna. So Council has 12 parking patrol officers. That would to bring this into force, we would do a blitz to make it happen, make a big show. How we did, similar to what Waverley Council did. They did that for a couple of days. Then we'd need to look at how we could maintain that, depending on the response rate we get from the particular operators to do that.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Burst.
Randwick City Council, we were always leaders with innovation and moving forward. Here we are in the e-bike scenario, and we're now becoming followers. We're following other councils who have led the way. We've sort of sat back. We don't know when the state government's going to make the decision. It could be at the end of the year, it could be in 6 months' time, it could be in 12 months' time, it could be 18 months or 2 years' time. Are we prepared to have more people going into medical centres having to seek treatment because they've fallen over bikes, or these bikes haven't been properly cared for? They affect the environment. Are we happy to take a hit for our environment for the next 12 months, potentially, till we come up with some sort of state-mandated response? The MOU that's been working in Waverley and Bayside has been working well from what I hear. So we should sometimes, you need to be proactive and say, let's do this because it's the right thing to do for our community and our people. So I urge everybody to support this because it's a positive step forward. Even if it's not the final end solution, it's a step along the path. It's a step along the path to getting to the right end game, which is what it's all about. So, and it means that people are already aware of, they've got to park bikes in a certain spot. There's certain requirements, like when you're driving a car. You know you can only park in certain spots. You know you can't park in a no standing sign. Things like that. We know those rules. So this is an opportunity to start taking our e-bike users on a journey of enforcement and requirements and policy. So they will start moving forward. Otherwise, we're going to be playing catch up and stay behind the game, behind the other councils. So I think we're innovative and leaders, and I would support that we support this motion. Thank you.
I have a hand up from Councillor Veach. I'll then go to Councillor D'Souza.
Yeah, look, I won't be supporting this motion. We do have regulations. We just had a big inquiry, which the government has responded to. There was a lot of really good recommendations coming out of that inquiry. Government has responded to them, and on the basis of that, they will be developing a set of regulations. I don't support geofencing. You know, I do support the provision of additional, bike parking spots in busy areas such as Coogee and Randwick Junction and anywhere that's identified. I think that's really appropriate. But the success of e-bikes is based on the fact that people can sort of pick one up and go to their destination. They're really easy to ride. I think we've had something like 190,000 trips or something in the past year. Everyone's always going on about parking and traffic, and this is something that's really helping get cars off the road. People are finding an alternative way to, get from A to B. So geofencing is not the answer, and I hope we can find ways. We don't want, things like helmets and speed are already the subject of regulation. As well as riding on footpaths. So let's try and work with these companies. We do want people to do the right thing and ensure that the bikes aren't, inappropriately parked. But I wouldn't want to see the end of e-bikes. And if we really went to the next level with geofencing, I think that would have some pretty significant impacts on that.
Thank you. I have a hand up from Councillor D'Souza and then Councillor Wellington. Is that correct? D'Souza Wellington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I don't agree with many things Councillor Burr says, but on this occasion, I must support him. If we think of our motto or the inscription of Randwick Council, it says Semper Prima. Always, the Latin words mean always first. Randwick is always first. Many times in 1859, when it became the first municipality to become the city of Randwick, we've always been leaders, and we should continue to be leaders. So I'll be supporting Councillor Martin on this one.
Councillor Wellington and then Councillor Gordon.
Just an observation on the photograph helpfully provided by Councillor. It's a great photograph. What it shows is that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about at least a dozen people have chosen to arrive on Coogee Bay Road by bicycle, which means they didn't come by car. And what we should be doing is looking at a way. I mean, they clearly have a problem when they get there. There's nowhere to park their bikes. And what we should be looking at is probably commandeering some of the car parking spaces and turning them into bike parking opportunities on Coogee Bay Road.
I couldn't agree even more.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to oppose this for a different reason. And I know that these e-bikes do present a significant issue for our community, recognising that Councillor Martin, Councillor Luxford have all raised strong views about them. And I just want to say that if you go into an MOU without knowing what the regulations are, there's a real risk that we actually lock ourselves into an agreement that is less powerful. All right. Could I ask a question through to the relevant officer as to whether signing an MOU would pose a risk that we would lock ourselves into a less powerful agreement?
Thank you. Through to the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, I can't answer that because I don't know what the final regulations may or may not be.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon, please continue.
In any case, I still think we should wait for the regulations. I know that we all want to jump on top of this issue quickly, but I really do think that we should understand what our powers are or will be before we make this decision.
Thank you. Are there any further? Okay, there's been a request that the question be put. All those in favour of that, or say aye. All those against? Yes, I... No. Okay, thank you, councillors. I know what's going on. Thank you. It was carried. Yes. Thank you. The question that it be now put has been carried, which now means that councillor. So thank you, councillors. Means Councillor Martin gets to close the debate. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Wow, there's lots of things I'd like to say in response to all those. Let's first of all say this is not about getting rid of e-bikes at all. This is about trying to incorporate them in like we are. And I totally agree with you, Councillor Willington. Yes, those bikes on Coogee Bay Road could be just down the road on a dedicated parking strip. Councillor Veach, the 34 recommendations that were brought out in May that we were waiting for, gave us nothing on this issue that we're addressing tonight, all right? My understanding, the state regulations may be released before the end of the year. There's no set date or no set time. If that is the case, they then have to do the process that takes place to implement it. Say the designated parking areas, that's all going to take time. So our community could be waiting at least 12 months for this to happen. As I said before, an MOU is not a contract and can always be overridden by something that is coming down the line. It isn't easy to think that any state regulations could be any stricter than what this MOU is what we're asking for tonight. So councillors, I urge again for you to not make this about politics, but to consider instead what our community wants and expects of us as a council, to take this action when we can and believe we're in a position to act on this issue now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will now put the question. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against? No. Division. There's been a request for a division from councillors Hamilton and Rosenfeld. All those in favour say aye. So raise your hand. All those in favour, raise your hand. Okay, you have Councillor Hamilton, Hay, Rosenfeld, Martin, Asgari, Burst, D'Souza. All those against. We have councillors Willington, Magna, Veach, Luxford, Gordon, Wilson, Said, and the Mayor. I declare the motion lost. Thank you. We now move to NM 59/25, notice of motion from Councillor Asgari, report into safe battery disposal. Councillor Asgari, could you please move your motion? I'll then call for a seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I take the motion as read. And first of all, I'd like to...
Yep. Do you wish to speak to it?
Can I continue?
Please continue.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank the council staff for the great job they're doing. But according to quarterly progress review, January to March 2025, for the period 1st of January to end of March, delays in removal of rubbish has resulted from issues with one of our trucks being off the road, being damaged by the fire that was caused by batteries in the trucks. I was also notified that on 26th of October last year, a fire broke out at the Opal Botany Mill in the waste paper yard. The cause of fire was an incorrectly disposal of battery that was buried inside a bag of waste paper. And I hope you all commend and support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor D'Souza is the seconder.
Mr. Mayor, I commend Councillor Asgari. There's little to say on this because she spoke beautifully on the issue. And she also gave us evidence that supported why we should act. The fire, which was in one of the trucks, and there's fires, Councillor Rosenfeld's involved in the shipping industry. You know, batteries are a problem. And whether it's on a big vessel or in one of our small garbage trucks, they are a problem. So I commend this councillor with her wisdom and her evidence, and I encourage everyone to support it. Not much of a debate on this one.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Declare that carried. Councillors, we now move to NM 60/25, notice of motion from Councillor Veach. Before we move to Councillor Veach, no, just hear me out in relation to this particular one. Before we move to it, so earlier in the meeting we carried the mayoral minute in my name MM 16/21, and I just want to draw your attention to what was actually resolved in relation to it, which was a point B, a point A, which includes the action of commemorative post about the anniversary on social media, noting council's long-standing membership on the below-mentioned organisations. My original intention around this was to move the two together, and in the event that one was carried, the other one lapses. On further reflection, and I do apologise if I've given the wrong impression, I have looked at both motions, and I do actually think that Councillor Veach's is slightly different, and if carried would involve a slightly different action from council. As a result, with the indulgence of the meeting, I propose that we will debate Councillor Veach's motion, and she's undertaken for it to be brief. So, Councillor Veach, could you please move your motion?
Yeah, thank you. Look, I think everyone can take it as read. We're all completely horrified, I think, by the, nuclear threats that exist in the world at the moment. For anyone who's been to Hiroshima, you can feel like you're at ground zero of a change in the world that took place at that time. We've had testing in Australia, which had terrible effects. I'm definitely not seeking to negate anything in the mayor's in the mayoral minute, so I would be happy to. The actions were slightly different. I would be happy for the mayor's for the actions proposed in the mayor's mayoral minute to be the actions that we take out, and that we simply just sort of note the issues raised here. So yeah, it's not an intention to override those sentiments which I supported. So I hope you can support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor D'Souza. Thank you. Are there any further speakers? There being no further speakers, I'll now put it. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We now move to NM 61/25, notice of motion. Oh, actually no. Sorry, that's done. Yeah. Well, thank you. Sorry, I'm tired. We now move to closed session CP 22/25. But before we do that, we will close the gallery and make sure that we're not recording. we're good to go? Okay. The outcome of the confidential session of the ordinary council meeting on the 17th of June 2025. CP 22/25 update on the Renewables Sydney project was carried as per the business paper. The confidential Director of City Services reports. CS 31/25 provision of horticultural soil and turf goods and services SS Rock tender was carried unanimously as per the business paper. CS 32/25 mattress collection and processing services SS Rock tender was carried unanimously as per the business paper. CS 33/25 electric vehicle charging infrastructure at the admin building and depot was carried unanimously as per the business paper. CO 35/25 confidential Director of Corporate Services report, the confidential fees and charges was carried as per the business paper. There being no further business, the meeting of the 17th of June is now adjourned. Thank you very much, councillors. I'll see you in July, hopefully.